haven't already, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe. What's going on, Dale Matthews? How you doing? The Crown Prince 7, I see you. Capra 2515. The L Wash 183. Shout out to y'all, man. Got flavor. Sir Shot, what's good? What's good? Fish in the Fit 753. How you doing? All right, here we go, y'all.
In the middle. No real shit.
Nah, you right.
So what do you think about the saying that women should be with a man who wants her more than she wants them?
I don't know about that.
I because men have men get to pick, like they say, men do the choosing. I think the man should want you more because they got to choose you. So if
I don't feel like no nigga choosing me. I'm choosing the nigga.
I don't know why.
What?
It takes for a man to be interested in you to begin with for him to choose you. You don't have the option of talking to that man unless he wants to talk to you.
That
I ain't met a nigga that don't want to talk to me.
Exactly, which means he chose you.
Girl.
She's saying let them choose and then she'll
Decide
validate
what,
the choice.
whether she want.
You saying they gotta choose and then you're getting them the choice to be with them. Like you ultimately.
Yeah, it's ultimately my decision on who I want to give my time to. I'm not giving my time to a nigga because he want my time. Is you crazy? That's crazy.
I hear that 100%. But when it comes to marriage, that's really where that base comes from. Because the men gets to ask the woman, "Will you be my wife?" And then they have to say yes. So that's why they said men do the children. What is it saying? Women get who they can. What's the saying? Okay, anyway, but they say that men get to do, they pick their wives.
They do.
You could run around all day, I want to be a wife, I want to be a wife. But until a man asks you to be a wife, you're never going to be a wife.
Not really.
So that's why men, at the end of the day, get to, as much as we don't like it, that is the reality of it. So,
but if I'm to your point, if I'm liking you or loving you more than you love me, that ain't gonna be right. That's when you get ran over. Most of the time, it got to be the other way around, bro.
She still got to love you a lot, though.
No,
I'm not saying be with somebody who
more.
don't love you.
She got to love you more because she the backbone. She the one going to keep it together because nigga going to get the fuck on. It's too much of a one-sided thing because, like I said, I could walk out here today and walk downstairs and get a queen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of y'all can't do that. Walk right downstairs and go next door to the restaurant and find the love of my life, a wife. All she missing is me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shortage on husbands. It ain't no shortage on niggas, but it's a shortage on husbands. A nigga that want to be a husband, that shit, it's a woman holding on to his leg for dear life right now. She ain't letting him go.
And white women will date you if you're gay. So, they got.
I don't like the way white women smell.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it. What y'all thinking, man? Is a shortage a husband? That was the first question I started off with. I know you got ladies were starting to ask. Jay, Keisha, what y'all thinking?
I'm sorry. I don't think there's a shortage of people to marry per se, but I never thought of it being like a shortage, and I don't think an individual person would be able to say like there's a shortage of husbands because you should only be looking for your one anyway. And it's a very individual choice, I feel like, and what that means for someone to have a husband and what that looks like for them.
What about you?
I don't think it's a shortage of husbands. I think it's a shortage of qualified partners. I think that kind of like what Mac saying, there's plenty of single men, women. I think the problem is being single don't always equate to, available for help. Some people being available for healthy relationships. That's what I think. Yeah.
What about you, Paris?
So, I hate to say it like this, but I do think it's a shortage of men or husbands. I don't know. It's just what I see, especially being on these platforms. You see a lot of men that, just want to play around. Like, so men that's actually trying to date with intention of marriage, looking for their wives, I think it's a shortage of them.
So that's just single men in general, not husbands. They just single men. So I don't think that's why I said kind of what you saying, Paris. I don't think it's a shortage of husband. I think it's, you know what I mean, just a shortage of partners. What you saying? They like to play around. They like to, you know, you can't find emotional mature men a lot of times. You know, all kind of crap going on. So I don't think it's just qualified. That's why I kind of said qualified partners in a way, just people ready.
Yeah, I could agree to that.
So I think there's some important data to understand when you incorporate every possible factor like imprisonment, sexual orientation, and everything that women would love to throw out there to say that, all right, well, there's not enough men. It ends up being about 84 men to 100 women who have never been married. If you start to count people who have been married, already divorced, and all, it gets a little bit worse, where it's closer to 66 to 100. So while there is the advantage of men, I think that it's a lot easier for women to be able to find a suitable husband. But I understand that the standards and what is considered to be suitable is where we'd have to bridge the gap. Does anybody disagree with that?
No, not at all.
All right. So then the question would be, what are some of the main things that you think are actually limiting women from being able to be married to men? Do you think that is something that women are doing incorrectly? Do you think they're not trying hard enough? Or do you think that it's just not enough? What do you think is the main driving force behind it?
They're not developed yet. They're little girls still in their head. That's what I think. There's not a lack of good qualified men, in my opinion, that could be husbands, that can function as good partners. And I think we need to start challenging the women to, to have them convey what they assume a husband is. I think we've romanticized this relationship thing too much and lived through storybook like exchanges, because I meet men who, in my opinion, man to man assessing a man, and all the men on this panel can assess men. When we're looking at a man, if we had daughters, oh, this guy would be a good candidate to, protect my daughter moving forward because of his characteristic, because of his proven consistency. Now, is he 6'2", 6'4"? Does he make $800,000 a year? Maybe not, but that's what I think is the disconnect, is that you got a lot of women who think that romance is this storybook and that they're all going to get this stellar guy, and most of them are basic. If you want a husband, he's going to annoy you. If you want a man, he's going to challenge you. He's not always just going to automatically make your little kitty wet. Maybe not. But that's why I think is the disconnect. Women don't want men nowadays. They want sexual experiences. They want a partner who does not challenge them. They want an idea of a man. They don't really want a man, because throughout history, men have always came alongside and started imparting in that young lady, and she was open to hear and respect it. That's not the women we have today. So it's not a lack of husbands, in my opinion. It's a lack of women who don't want to grow up. And I'll land.
Though I don't disagree with the first portion of, I would have said it differently personally, was that my thought was a lot of people don't really, like women in particular, there's like an idea of what they want, but there's also not enough understanding of self, I feel like, a lot of times, for them to really truly go out into the world with intention. And then also falling back on lust and your flesh, right? And those moments of loneliness. I always find it interesting when men say, according to them, what they would qualify the men for. The part about that you are missing is the side of the intimacy bar that is passed when a man is now dealing with a woman. So this man on surface level of certain things would absolutely not see a lot of times, and I understand what you're saying with that, but until you know a man in an intimate space, you will truly not understand his full capability of being said husband, if that makes sense.
I like you, Miss Mac. I like you. You're very smart. I like how you put that. Let's explore that for a second, right? Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. But I think that's where we're at now, in the collective space that is relationships. When I said from man assessing men, men have never assessed men romantically. We're not interested in romance. We are interested in his consistency. We're interested in the fact, just so you can understand the general consensus of how men think. I should be able to give you my life and then an extension of my life. So if I'm handing you my daughter, I need to trust that you can handle her as good, if not better than I would. That's not romantic in the general sense. And if you look at history, that's typically how we pick, right? What we've allowed now is because we live in a first world country and a first world society, romance is the driving force behind relationships, and they never have been. So now we're in this weird space to we're trying to figure out what do we do moving forward now? Because we're dismantling everything that was pillar about man, woman, family and all those things. And I agree with you. I think that there's an elevation maybe that needs to happen with men, understanding that women now are seeking. I've even heard Restoring say this before. You guys want us in a way we've never had to arrive yet. I don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe it will in the next 10 to 20. But I think that, again, is the challenge. We're speeding up something like, oh, well, men are supposed to arrive emotionally mature, know how to deal with women emotionally. Nah, men ain't never been good at dealing with women emotionally, as you can tell. So we're learning on the
job. So check this out. You know what? All right, go ahead. But I had a question for the ladies, though, in all honesty, because I think that in some instances we've downed women or even demonized them for what it is that they want. And apparently there's a new modern day standard of expectations, right? This is definitely what True was just talking about. So I want to challenge the ladies to be honest, right? And tell us what it is that your priorities are, right? Because it's literally impossible for you to build a bear and create every single thing that women are requesting. But what is paramount? What actually is it? What is it that you want? Because if you want romance, let us know. Because in all honesty, some women are able to provide for themselves right now, maybe protect a provider. We've made the world so posh for you, ladies, that maybe that's not really what you want anymore. So how about we challenge the ladies to be honest? I would love for everyone to give us maybe a top 3, and if you can go up to 5 if you want. What is it that you are literally looking for long term? If you had to have 3 attributes about a man that would have to be static forever, right? What would they be? Top 3. Don't all go at once. I know y'all know what you want, right?
I would say you ain't let us say it. Wait a minute. Give us a second. I would say consistent, honest, and emotionally mature. You said 3, so I'm giving you 3.
No, that's fine. I'm taking it. Okay.
Can I go?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
Okay. I like the 3 that you gave, so I'm just gonna add on to that. Effort, accountability, I'm gonna get one more. And I feel like, can we throw trust in there, or is that already a thing that's supposed to be there already?
It's you. If you have the same as someone else, we can't knock you for that. If there's a consensus, it is what it is. That only makes it easier for us. True, you're writing that down, right?
Yeah, write it down. I have a list. I have a list of 10 things.
Okay.
I could go into my notes and read it to you if you want me to.
No. That's cool. That's cool. 3 is cool. Miss Mac, what you got?
Integrity, desire from me, and adaptability.
Adaptability. I've heard that before. Just for a brief second, or give us maybe a quick sentence on what that looks like for you.
Sometimes not being so stuck or stubborn, and that can be mentally or just even a physical thing. Of being able to understand abstract thoughts sometimes, even if you don't quite agree. That's more of a personal, obviously, moment thing.
Got it. Paris.
I don't know. I think I want, provider, protector, and communicator. That would be my top 3.
Okay. Restoring the village.
Personally, I would say I only have one. I would want somebody who is religious and very spiritual. Because in Islam, if you actually follow it to the T as a man, there's something in it for every aspect of what a relationship should look like. You're supposed to be a provider. You're supposed to be socially, emotionally intelligent. You're supposed to be patient. You're supposed to be loyal, so on and so forth. So I just want that because it's going to hit everything, all the other targets. And if you fear God, then I have nothing else to worry about because you're not going to oppress me or do anything unjust to me because you know that you're going to be held accountable.
Okay. Jay, so on you.
Well, I definitely have more than 3. But I would
I
say
ain't asked you all that, but you could go ahead.
I would say, protection, presence, and I want to say the desire or the craving for me. Do you want 4? Like, loyalty to me. There you go. There's 4.
Right. So I want to let one of the other men have it. Pause. However, I think we might have a eureka moment because this is not typically what women on the internet say, right? Like, so I kind of I want to
What are
see
they
what
saying? They
Sue's
want a
take
man to
on.
love to be lovey-dovey
Well,
and all, hold hands and all that stuff.
yeah, I hear all kinds of things, but this is a different take on it. And with that, I think that men could actually take a different approach. Freshmaker, what's your assessment upon what you just gathered? And then I know, True, you're gonna close it with this one because I know you've been taking notes.
I think these are admirable things to want. I think, however, we do have a disconnect, like True mentioned. If we want to get to know these intimate parts of men and whether they do have these values for you, the bar in which to get to know him cannot be so absurd. So, as you mentioned, the things that we see
What
on the
is the
internet.
bar that is absurd?
So maybe she's driven solely just on physical attraction, and that may be something that is even fleeting in itself, or maybe the way that he dresses. You know what I'm saying? There are things that are that should be extremely minimal that are used to make major decisions on whether you're or not you want to get to know somebody, and that actually probably, in short, blocks your blessing. And I think this happens quite often. The last thing now I would say is that I heard desire was mentioned, and I think that we do ourselves a disservice by actually not putting a serious priority on what it is that men actually desire. Of course, you want him to desire you, but what is it about you that will make him desire you? Do you have that? Or are you willing to develop that? Or is it something that you don't want to work for? I'll land.
True.
I think that all the ladies were being nice about it. I think it's all BS. And I'll say that.
Yeah, I got time,
Y'all gotta forgive me. I'm just a straight shooter, right? I think I've learned with being on these panels that when you ask women questions in general, they're speaking from the best case scenario. So as all these things are great characteristics, I think that only women have the keen ability to talk about it from, well, yes, I'm speaking about the guy that I actually desire and I actually want. He looks the way I want him to look already. He's already crossed those markers. So when you talk about trust, integrity, provider, protector, communicator, that's the secondary. And to like Freshmaker's point, well, if we're being honest in mass, that's not typically what women are speaking about because these characteristics exist in most guys, in my opinion. Like, and some of them can even be developed. Integrity and desire. If you're a woman and you not 300 pounds and hard to look at, most dudes can be integral and definitely can desire you. No, no issue. Protector, provider, communicator. Cool. Communicator. To what degree and what capacity? Because when I hear women even say, I want a communicator, they actually meet one. I'm a communicator. Most of them can't even handle a real communicator. Because now I can keep up with your intellect, or the fact that you think that you're smarter than most dudes, which you may be because you're used to being around dumb dudes. So this list is more like a when he fits the general mode, in my opinion. I don't think that it's honest. And I think that's, again, the disconnect. We're in this weird space to where clearly the men of the past have made the standard that women are supposed to be okay with these things that a man has. That's no longer the world we live in. So now we're trying to figure out how to best meet you guys at your highest level of desire. And what I think we often see is it's not that easy to land on what this ideal man is actually consisting of. What does he look like? How does he sound? What career does he have? It's very broad and vague. And I think that's a challenge, in my opinion.
So should the women have said, hey, true. So should the women have said he needs to be 6 feet, he needs to be attractive, he needs to be,
That's the answer
you
he
know,
was looking
6
for.
figures. Right. But if women were to give that answer, now it's like want. But you know, like damn if you do, damn if you don't. Like, yeah, he need to be 6 foot. Yeah.
No, I think we
Not
gave
for
you
me.
guys
I'm just saying a lot of women say that.
No, I think we gave you guys the room to communicate, which I appreciate, right? And I'll pick on her for a second, but I actually like what she said, and I think it was key. Restoring was the only one that talked about a man arriving at a place to where he's operating as a man, and those characteristics are already existing. So we didn't have to get into the physicality. She spoke from a man that is practicing something that has nothing to do with relationships, right? I personally think that's what's missing. My mother is actually another woman who, when she wanted my dad, which they've been married 40 years, that was the only thing she required. He loves God. That's it. She didn't think about how tall he was, what color eyes he had, what career. Because in her mind, if he followed God, everything else was going to fall in line, right? Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of women who subscribe to spirituality, religion. Cool. So now we're exploring these things, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if you wanted to be 6 feet, cool. You're going to struggle. If you want him to make $500,000 a year, cool. You're going to struggle. If you want a husband, in my mind, and maybe most men, this man is going to be someone who's on track. He's devoted. He's consistent. He has integrity. He protects. He provides. It's not a look. Husbands don't have a look. They have a mindset. And that's what I think is missing a lot of times, in my opinion.
I was listening a little bit. I do agree partly with what True's saying, but also it's like it's not 1855 no more, and we not Mormon. So a nigga can't just come like, oh, I got to provide and protect. Like, no, niggas, motherfucker can ask you to have some emotional intelligence. It's not that hard. It's not hard to listen. I think one of the biggest things with us men, right? Because I always had this conversation with y'all about, does it matter the way that you communicate it, or is it just the message, right? And niggas be like, it's just the message. It don't matter how I say it, right? And that takes me back to the way that we brought up, right? When your parents are kind of like, yo, I said what I said. It don't ask me why, right? That don't work no more. When my kid asks me why, I tell him why. Because it's important that he understands why. It's important that I give him the knowledge. It's important that he holistically understands everything that I'm telling him. And I think we kind of we doing that thing with our women of, don't ask me what, like, no, nigga. They communicate, right? Communicate and do it effectively. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah, I hear you, man. At 1865 or whatever the year, I get it. I actually am one of the men who subscribe to men being better. I really have this mindset that men should be optimal. But in that understanding of my ideology, the optimal position a man should be in should not be because of a woman. He should be that because he's man. So if you're man and you just so happen to be doing your thing, a woman that's wise and smart will be able to recognize your development, your consistencies, your disciplines, right? And if she's attracted to you, then all these things will just fall into place. But what I think is that there's a big gap of development, extremely on the man side. So I agree with you. The challenge is that unfortunately a lot of men make their identity about what women sign off on. And women can't, in my opinion, define man because they're not men. They don't know what it is to be us. And that's fair. Great. But they should know what they're, I guess, hoping to interact with from something that is actually reachable, solid, and replicable. It shouldn't be so vague and it shouldn't be so superficial, you know, at least in my, if we're talking about a husband, somebody significant. But
I agree with the superficial
So
stuff.
true. Do you think that what?
I didn't really hear any
Oh, do you think
superficial
that
things from a lot of the women on.
Go ahead,
I
Lakeisha. I heard you.
didn't hear
So do you
any
think that?
superficial responses.
Okay.
Lakeisha, go ahead.
Okay. So do you think that what all the women said true? Do you think that most men already possess those?
No,
Like,
I
if
don't.
we're
I don't know.
looking for it, do you think that, like, if I'm looking for a man that's honest, I'm looking for a man that has some emotional maturity, I'm looking for a man that's consistent. If I'm looking for it, then obviously there's a lot of men that lack it. So my question is, do you think that most men carry those traits?
I don't think most men carry those traits in abundance. I think, how do I answer this? I think that most women have interacted with men with these characteristics. But I think that the challenge sometimes is there's an idea of how it's supposed to look. Communication is the perfect example. That's why I asked, how he's supposed to communicate. But I don't know any man that does not use words. But then a woman that he doesn't communicate correctly. And it's like, well, does he never talk? And she's like, no, he talks. And he doesn't say it the way I want him to say it. Or he doesn't follow. I ask him, he says, I'm fine, babe.
Damn, true. Is that me? Or
Damn, true. Hey, true.
Okay,
Your
I
joint,
thought
your
that was
joint
about to
tripping
say
right
this
now.
now, bro.
Yeah, I think
I know you was
it's
cooking, but
fine.
it was cutting. Yeah, you froze completely now. You might have to
all right,
jump out and come back in. Yeah,
There
you
you
was
go.
getting
There
it
you go.
too, bro, but it just jumped out. But from the gist of what he was saying, I mean, initially I had an earlier point that I wanted to kind of get to. He basically felt like most of the women came up here and lied.
That was a lie.
And that's problematic because, like he said, nobody said anything superficial. And if these are barriers to entry, right, and we're trying to tell men what they should be able to do to obtain a woman, right, that's not going to work. And secondly, a lot of women really talk about this emotional intelligence, and I get it. That's fair. That's something that you should desire. But I think it's also something that you should offer, and most women don't. Right? We're expected to regulate your emotions while we're emotionally intelligent. I get it, right? And I understand it, but just understand that you were asking for something that you don't even supply. That's tough. That's tough. And then you want good communicators, and women are the worst communicators.
Hold on, guys. Hold on, real quick, Trev. Right. So you're saying that a woman who's looking for a emotionally intelligent, great communicator, right? She should be pretty much a woman should be everything that she's asking for when it comes to
not everything that she's not everything that she's asking for, but she has to respect the degree of difficulty and the degree of rarity that exists, right? So that's like me saying I want somebody who fit. I'm a fat motherfucker. That's just not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that there's a thing we call equally yoked, and I think if I'm going to take my time to put in the work, because it takes time, it takes effort. You have to really work on yourself and build yourself to get to the point where you're emotionally intelligent. You have to develop a level of understanding for her, but it would be one way. And I'm not good with that.
Yeah, because my point was going to be a lot of guys do say that I think we flip flop. Not to say that it's you, but a lot of guys do, right? Where it's like come with the things that you're asking me for. However, why else would you be wanting me to lead you, right? If you got everything that I got, why I'm the leader, right? I am the leader because you don't have what I have. I am a better communicator than you. I am more introspective than you. I'm better than you at all of these things. I'm superior, right? As a leader. I don't think most men are leaders, so I think they pretty much even with women. But as an actual leader, I'm always coaching my woman on, listen, you could have responded better this way to this individual, or, this could have been, this is how we communicate together, relax, calm down, like I'm always coaching her on, on these things. So I guess I'm pushing back on the idea that she has to be where I'm at. I do understand, because I don't want to be with a woman who don't have no type of grasp on it. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
The
think that's
job-
so.
I think
Let me
that
ask you
speaks
this,
to
and
a
then the only
character.
question I want to have for you, Ma, with this: does your woman treat you like a superior?
I think so.
Okay,
She do what I say.
good enough. Good
The
enough.
challenge that I have
Good
with
enough.
what, like, because I've heard you say that before, and it's fair. Like, most men are not leaders. I would say most men are not leaders in society, sure, but I disagree that most men are not leaders in a relationship. And I think that's where, for me personally, it falls apart, because if I'm man, and the structure that is relationships typically is built from my pursuit and my idea behind trying to create a family extension of me with you and us, then how am I not leader in this dynamic? Like, I may not be the president of the United States or a CEO, but if I can't stand in leadership position with you, like, I think that's a huge problem, in my opinion.
I agree. I think that a man should, ideally, in my perfect world, I think men should be the leaders within their relationships. But I don't think I think it ends up being more idealistic than what it actually is in their relationships. I think they're doing this 50-50 thing. Not
Okay, so
financially, I'm talking about just all around.
Okay. Yeah, I would need the women's help on this one, because from my understanding, there are certain things that women don't function with on a daily. Like, women don't necessarily, if we're going to say like a task, she may not cook every day or clean every day, but she never loses her position as woman. She's still the person who's supposed to be covered, protected, and looked after, right? But then for whatever reason, our position is tied to our function only. So if we don't perform a day, a week, a month, then we void leadership the way it's conveyed.
Yeah, and I think that it sucks, right? It sucks. It's as the leader, you gotta perform because you want to be the leader. We get the short end of the stick. So most men, you don't want to actually be the leader, because you will get the short end of the stick. You can't slip like motherfuckers. Other motherfuckers can't slip. You're going to slip, but I can't do it to the degree of a woman.
And I just
Go
wanted
ahead.
to interject there. My whole thing is like, a lot of times when I hear men have these conversations, it just sounds like they want all of the perks without the responsibility that comes with it. And, like Real Dope Daddy was saying, if you are the leader of the household, it's kind of like pumping a well. So you put in a lot of the effort in the forefront, but at some point, that water starts to come out consistently. So you're not working as hard because you've already earned that title through your character, through, your just the history of how you are as a person. And so it's just natural for those around you to just submit to you. It's like I wouldn't hold a coworker to the same degree that I would hold a manager or a boss or a director. And that's just how it works, unfortunately. You do get to, enjoy the perks whenever, that comes around, but it comes with a lot of responsibility, and that's just how it works.
I don't disagree. And I don't disagree with that. So let me try to convey what I believe to be my outlook, right? I do not disagree with that. I think the disconnect for me is that you use the reference point of the job, which I think is great. I was a director at some point in my life. My respect came from position first, before anybody see me perform. Before anybody see me perform, my position had respect, right? Now, when you seen me execute my position through the authority that I yielded, then that maybe deepen the respect, but it was not odd if I came to you with my position and declared, hey, I need this from you, or I'm changing your schedule. My position demanded that. In a relationship, it's no different. I agree that he should be cultivating an ecosystem. But if I'm asking you to be with me, I'm already in line with me being able to function in something I want to build with you. What you're telling me, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What it sounds like from what I'm taking, I could be wrong. Well, no, yeah, you're supposed to do it up front, man, whoever you are. And then later down the road, now I can start to see and view you as the leader that you are. No, in my opinion, you're leader from jump. Your maybe treatment of me, respect of me, that is something that could slide and shift based on my lack of performance. But my position is not to be questioned, in my opinion, because I showed up in this exchange already who I am. So what are you talking about? That's what I'm saying. Relationally, I'm always a leader. And at some point, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I definitely understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. But again, when you are using the example of, having the title of a director, for you to have that title in itself, you already had to put in the work. You earned that title. So, I wouldn't necessarily, respect, let's say, a team lead the way I would a director, especially if it's a new person who's to the team. I don't really know how they work. It's not that I wouldn't respect them, but it's not the automatic authority. I would still be, kind of observing their performance to see, is this, a team lead that I would be expected to follow? And, their leadership wouldn't affect in the long run, I guess, the overall team's performance. Versus a director, no, you had to put in a lot of work to earn that title. That's not just a willy-nilly title they give to anybody. So, in the aspect of like a family, I guess, dynamic in the family unit, I understand that obviously, having the title being the husband is like probably the hierarchy in the household, but it's not really a hard title to obtain by marrying somebody. Now, when you obviously have that title and maintain obviously all the leadership skills to be considered a husband, especially in this day and age, because to be honest with you, people don't really respect the title of being a husband as men. Men don't take that title seriously. So it's not something that I would just blindly say, oh, if somebody decided to marry someone, he automatically is going to understand, the weight that that title carries and all the responsibilities that come with it. Because
I think
that's not
part
what
of the
men are
issue.
doing.
I think that's part of the issue. The part of the issue is, I'm so glad you said that, because this is where we have gone from. This is where we're going to. It's like, okay, yeah, I know you're a man, I get it, and these are the things that I want, but I gotta see if you fit the category for me to respect you as a man. And that's the problem, as opposed to submitting to that man because you chose him, right? Submitting to him, you're trying to, I always say trust is his best, build a bear. You're trying to mold him in what you think is the idea of what I want my husband to be. And I think that's the issue, because if I don't agree with him, then you know what? No, I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. I'm gonna get my opinion out. I'm not doing your laundry. I'm not cooking for you. What? This is what you did. You're playing a video game all day. Women aren't respecting a man just for their position. And no matter what, whether somebody is a director, a manager, whatever, you know that, okay, this is a person that has authority. I'm going to respect them as such. You're not saying, well, I got to meet you first and be around you and see how you manage before I can, respect you as such.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. Oh,
I just wanted to say, if there is no automatic respect for the title, it opens up a line for habitual line stepping, which is counterproductive to actually having a harmonious relationship. If you automatically have respect for the title the same way he brings respect and protection for the woman, then you have somewhere to build from. If not, he's constantly working from a negative, and that really don't make no sense.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the exact dynamic, because I think that obviously there was some sort of level of respect for that title because they married the person, right? I think just because at one point you got that respect because it was just an automatic given because of the title you have, doesn't mean that you maintain it or that you stay at that level when your performance and your leadership and lack of leadership qualities then starts to kind of demote you. Like you can naturally lose respect for a manager if they're using their title as a standard for not, making sure that they maintain a level of loyalty with their team, that they're not making sure that everybody's performance is on cue, that they're not doing the work themselves and they're just throwing everybody under the bus. It's very easy to exploit title and to exploit that hierarchy when you have a subordinate, right? And I feel like in relationships, a lot of times that's what happens. Like even the example that you gave, Jay, you said, women, like one of the examples that, women, I guess, complain about is like, oh, well, you've been playing on the game all day. Respectfully speaking, that does happen in a lot of households where the woman is expected to maintain a lot of her responsibilities and a lot of her domestic duties, whereas the man, just because he has the title of being the husband and the man, is able to cut himself slack anywhere and anytime he chooses. I personally think that, when you go into a marriage, obviously, there's a level of respect that goes to the husband and the level of respect that goes to the wife. And if you as a husband respect your wife, you will not put her in a position to have to question your leadership. You will not have to put her in a position to where she has to now feel like that protection that she's expecting you to give her is now being like, targeted, or that it's at risk, or, she has to step in any way, shape, or form. I think that's where that disconnect happens, is that men assume that just being male entitles them to that level of respect when you have to put work to maintain it. You're given that level, but you have to maintain it through your work, your effort, your character, so on and so forth.
I'm trying to figure out where the bad faith comes in, that he's going to lack or he will. What is the example of the slack? Like like we already talked about before, he must perform. He has to perform. That is a part of his role and being able to be a leader. He has to perform. Now, if he decides that he wants to relax, could it be that the viewpoint of him relaxing could maybe be an issue? Because we can't sit around and act as if sometimes these thought processes may not be led by an emotion, that it's completely always logical that she is looking at his performance through a completely logical plane. He may understand what his plan is as far as his rest and relaxation and his performance, and she may not. Now, that may be where the communication needs to come in, but if she has an idea of what she thinks about what he's doing, and it could be coming from an incorrect place, then you may be misjudging or mischaracterizing. And I think we got to make sure that we don't get too far into expecting the validity of the bad faith argument.
Yeah, I think if I could say something, so I understand like how we traditionally view relationships, right? But I think that's the issue, is that we assume that when we get into a relationship with a woman, that we're automatically the leader, right? And I think that women in their heads, even if they think that's the way they see life, that's not how it really be going in most of these relationships. It's just not how it works. I think that if you are a leader and you want to be a leader within your relationship, you need to communicate that, right? Because if you don't, she's gonna slime you out. That's what women is going. That's what they're gonna do. She's not gonna listen to what you saying if you don't have boundaries. I got boundaries. I've had them from early on, right? My woman knew that she couldn't play with me because I communicated that to her, right?
Yeah, you were clear and you picked her. And if she wasn't okay with that, right, then you wouldn't be in this situation that you're in now.
Exactly. But a lot of nut ass niggas,
you're picking these men.
A lot of nut ass niggas are still in these relationships. And these women who pick these men, they cool in these relationships with these men that aren't being leaders and that they don't allow to be leaders. Why are these men still in a relationship? That's letting you know that he's not a leader. Think I'm about to be in a relationship with a woman ain't listening? Hell no.
So, but wouldn't that say that those two actually deserve each other?
Right.
Those two actually deserve each other.
There's a lot of mismatched people and a lot of.
If you are actually mismatched, you need to get your ass about that match. Otherwise, you want to be in that match and you in the match you're supposed to be in.
Well, this is in that space of, again, I see and I pay attention to a lot of things, and I really be looking around like, what are y'all doing? Because like I know it's easier to see things from the outside, but there's quite a few people that are in relationships. Like if I really scan a room and a space, where I'm just like, what are y'all even doing? They're miserable, they're feeling resentful, and that's why there's a mismatch and a unequal balance, because this person is probably someone you should have never really even sat with, let alone be with. Like, for example, he's saying his woman has to listen, so he would be a mismatch with someone who always wants to have their opinion based in there and put something in there. That would be a mismatch. This would not be a horrible woman, but it'd be a mismatch. That's why
Big
when people be
mismatch.
like, huh?
A big mismatch.
So why do
No,
men?
but I'm saying that's why sometimes when we
So
listen to certain people like, oh, I want this, I want that, and it's like people have a problem with it. Are you marrying this man? You ain't got to sign up to his program. That's the point. You don't have to sign up to his program. You have a choice. That's your choice in it.
I think we're
Keisha,
ignoring
go
that.
ahead, because she was trying to get in for a minute, but she has a little bit of a delay, so she couldn't really jump in like that. Go ahead, Lakeisha.
I think I forgot. So I think it was.
Oh shit.
I think it was Tamont's. Yeah, I think I remember Tamont's point when he was talking about the men being the man being leaders. So I think Mont is, like you said, the issue is a lot of times the men just feel like when they're choosing us, right? They automatically assume. I don't want to say automatically assume, but like you said, some dudes not leaders. So why are men even getting in relationships when they're not fit to lead? You know what I mean? Like, but even to Fresh's point, people that's mismatched still getting together. So obviously it's working, but maybe not all men think or know for a fact that they might not know they're not leaders. I don't know.
I wouldn't say that.
I think that's false. In all honesty, like Mom was saying, it ain't 1855. There are some situations where women are leading. I've seen women, to my disgust, but functional for them, right? Where the woman would just lead. We can't tell everyone what they're supposed to do. There are some dynamics where men just want to fall back and relax and watch her do what she do. Now, and none of the women of here, that maybe one, but I didn't really hear leadership, right? So I don't think that that's at the top of the total. Like, I know you didn't mention the superficial stuff, but nobody said really leading either. If it was, it might have been one person. That doesn't seem to be a top priority. So then that questions,
I think sometimes
do
we think
women?
it's self-implied too, Trev. I think a lot of times we think it's
I ain't gonna let
self-implied.
that
I don't
slide.
know.
I ain't gonna let
It
that
does.
slide.
Women didn't say they wanted to be led. Not a
wrong.
single woman. Maybe one. Maybe Restoring the Village might have said leadership. I think so.
What
But
do you think
outside of
that
that,
says, Trev?
definitely ain't nobody else say that. What
I
that's
know I
saying
didn't
is that
say
they
because I
don't want to
don't
be
want to be
led.
managed.
And if they want to lead, if you want to lead, then I hope that you want to lead and have not just the authority, but the responsibility that comes with it. And that's
Trev made a good
another
point.
disconnect.
Trev, you did make a good point, right? Like, it's not negotiable for me to end up being a leader within a relationship that I'm gonna be in, right? I think all of the women would honestly be okay if they didn't have a leader. In reality, I think y'all all would be okay if y'all got into a relationship with a man and he pitched in a little bit more than y'all with the bills. Nah, I know what y'all are saying, but I definitely do think that y'all can go both ways. Now,
Baby, what
hold
Trey
on.
say?
How many of y'all have been in relationships where the man was not necessarily the leader in practice?
I have, but that was a younger. But I operate better when a man is a leader.
Who else has been in a relationship where the man in practice has not been a leader? Now I'm gonna tell you what that means, right? That means that
Same when I was younger.
That means that you second guess the things that he does, right? The decisions that he make, you second guess him, and you might tell him, you might communicate to him and like, yo, I don't think that's no, I think that's it. Y'all argue about certain things. Y'all get into arguments a lot. This is a man who's not in practice the actual leader. Have y'all been in those type of relationships?
Yeah, in my marriage. I think when I was married, I went in and assuming he was the leader. Yeah. But soon came to find out Yeah, he wasn't as.
You didn't trust his decision making and his leadership. You thought you were smarter than him. You thought you probably was more competent and made better decisions sometimes.
I don't even think. No. I don't think he trusts his decision making.
We talking about you.
Right. I trusted it at the very beginning. Right. But obviously, as time went on, Restoring said that. As time went on, they showed different certain things where you like, wait a minute now. This is a little suspect. I don't know. And am I as the woman supposed to be like, because you the man, you the leader. We talked about the cliff thing. I'm going to just go on off the cliff with you, even though this don't make no sense. But I'm going to just go ahead and we dine together. So, but I started on the road with you now.
I mean, how many times can you jump off a cliff, blindly?
No, so what the gods are saying, right, is that if you are in a relationship with a man who is the leader of the relationship, right? If you get to a point where you no longer trust him to make decisions, you shouldn't be in that relationship. But y'all do be in that relationship and y'all fight with him, y'all argue, y'all go through that, y'all go through life, y'all be in rough marriages and things like this.
Well, if we're talking about marriage, though, what would be a quick exit when you start to notice the slack in the leadership? Like, again, it's divorce. We're talking about marriage here. So there are some people that have children. They've dedicated, years of their life to this person. And, unfortunately, it's not as easy as like, well, if you notice that he's not a really good leader, you should leave, because it's not just your life that's being affected. It's also children's lives that are being affected. There's a lot that goes into initiating a divorce, going through with the divorce. We're not just talking about like a boyfriend, girlfriend here.
But are we divorcing or leaving somebody for lack of leadership?
What is it?
Are we like leaving somebody or divorcing somebody for lack of leadership, or is it?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, if the man is not a leader in the household, it starts to translate on a larger scale, right? So maybe he starts to become, he's just not loyal anymore. He's not interested in the marriage anymore. He's not as invested. Maybe, financially, he's not providing the same. It starts to translate. And then long term, for women to carry that type of pressure and emotion, like the way I see it is a woman in a marriage should be like a spare tire. If there's ever a time where, a man needs to lean on her, it should be looked at as a spare tire. You cannot consistently expect that long term. Long term, there will be, a domino effect in that relationship. I don't think that it's natural, nor is it healthy for a woman to take that kind of responsibility for a long period or extended periods of time. So naturally, if a man starts to lose those qualities, overall, it will start to ripple into other aspects of the marriage. And I do think it does end up becoming, a situation where they need divorce. And it doesn't have to be something huge. It's, that's just one of those irreconcilable differences type of divorces where they just both don't see eye to eye anymore.
I think
we're still in the village. I think that we had. Wait, somebody was about to say something.
That was me.
Go ahead. Go ahead, first, Mike.
I think Trev definitely opened up something when he recognized that the word leadership was not mentioned. Thank you. Because the ladies did mention desire before, and my retort was, in order for him to desire you, you have to be desirable. If you do not want to follow, or you don't necessarily have him being a leader as your priority, why would that be desirable to him? He doesn't want to clash with you. He doesn't want you constantly questioning him on normal things. So if you're not looking for a leader first, why would that necessarily be desirable to him?
Can I add on top of that for you real quick?
Sure.
If I, right, as a man, if I said on this panel, you know what, I'm okay being a leader in a relationship, or, I don't have to necessarily be a leader in my relationship. The woman, we can split it, or, she can lead. Would y'all look at me as a good leader?
No.
Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry, because
I'm saying that if I was on here and I said like, oh yeah, I can be the leader in my relationship, or I don't have to be the leader in my relationship. It depends, sometimes my woman can be a leader, or would y'all feel like I'm a good leader?
No.
You probably would be like, you ain't really about that shit, right? You ain't really with it, right? I think it's the same vice versa. Like
Right.
if you are in a position where you like, I could go to be, to follow a man, or I don't have to. You probably could be a better follower. Like you probably not the best follower.
I think a lot of times my biggest gripe with the whole like leader aspect when the conversation comes in, it seems to be very heavy-handed in the type of leadership that sounds more like dictatorship.
Exactly. Thank you.
And so that's where I have this disconnect of needing this leader, because for me personally, it's like a lot of times it becomes micromanaging. And then also this moment of, even you said something about emotionally coaching. It's like there's times where I should be able to have a moment in that emotion, just like there's moments and times where you're going to need that too for yourself in that leeway. And then it becomes you're an emotional woman. It's like, I didn't ask you to manage my emotion, you know what I'm saying, either. So it becomes this moment of like, I'm managing everything. And it's like, well, who did you meet here? Did you just want an empty vessel? And that's where that dynamic of this leadership conversation comes in, where it's just like, you just want a portal just to sit here and fill at some point. And that's cool too. But then it becomes like I'm being thrown completely out the equation of who I am as a person too.
Yeah. No, I get your point of view.
Absolutely.
And I think that there are probably some men who are more of that, dictatorship type of leading style. I'm not that. I understand that women are women. You're going to be emotional sometimes. However, there are ways that you should handle that. For example, I'll give you an example, right? If my woman is feeling a certain type of way, let's say she's on her period or something like that, I tell her, listen, tell the people in the house, hey, I'm not feeling well. I might not be myself today. I need space. That is a way that I coach you to, if this is how you're doing, if this is how you feel, communicate that to the people around, communicate that to the kids, because I don't want the kids to internalize anything about you. I don't want the kids to feel a certain type of discomfort because you feel a certain type of way. And then because this is energy, right? Your energy, your mood can affect the people around you. It can affect the room around you. It's true. So when I give that type of leader, that type of coaching, that's me helping the family. Even though you may not like it in the moment, right? You may be like, why do I have to tell people that I need? Because that's better for the family, if that makes sense.
So
That
I have a question
honestly, I
then
actually
for
like that you do that. I like that you do that because sometimes when you're in it, you can't really see what other people see, and energy just transfers from one thing to one person to another, and then afterwards you're like, damn, I shouldn't have reacted that way. So I think I like that.
My only
I have a
question is, with that dynamic, are you open to the same type of constructive criticism?
Absolutely. I love conversations. Listen, I love to talk. Tell me how you feel. I'm introspective and I want to hear your opinion because I'm not always right. And you're my second set of eyes and ears, right? That's why I chose you. Tell me
And
what you see.
so my question is, do men operate in that same sense? Or should they operate in that same sense?
I'm sorry, say that again. What you say?
Sense of the same way he said, she has to communicate, like, I'm not in the best headspace right now. I need some space. Should men or do men operate in that same sense?
1,000% they should. If I'm in a position where I'm in a mood where I might lash out or anything like that, right? I should communicate that to the people around me, like, hey, I need some space. I'm not in the best, like, because that's the last thing I want is for the people around me to feel that energy or to internalize that energy. Now everybody got anxiety. No, I don't want that. See, no, us growing up, nobody was able to save us from our moms, right? She come in the house, she mad at everybody. Why you laying down? Nobody could save us from our moms because can't nobody tell them shit. That's not me. No, like I'm gonna give my woman what she need to be.
But I have a question though. In that scenario, for example, let's say your spouse, because she might have some sort of, emotional dysregulation because of her hormones, would you say that it's more productive for her to be the one to convey that message, being in that state, or you as the leader to be the one to regulate, I guess, the emotions in the household and just make everyone aware that that's currently what we're dealing with?
It can be either or. It depends on the situation. You know, it can be a situation where I'm not in the house, and I think she needs to be able to. So, as the leader, what helps us the most is you being competent and you being able to handle things on your own, right?
To
Like
delegate, yeah, for sure.
the best way for me to lead my kids is to teach you everything that you need to know, because I'm not going to be able to save you all day, right?
Mhm.
So I tell you to come home before the street lights come on, because that's the safest thing for you to do. I tell you to stay away from these type of situations because I can't come and be retroactive and whoop everybody ass that did something to you, right? So I gotta teach you how to do like the more competent that you are, you might find it that you might feel like the nigga not even leading you, know, like because we on the same page. We already on the same page. I ain't telling you what to do.
I was gonna
But
say,
with
because
all the
some of these
women on
things
here,
sound
I would
like
be okay
basic
with that.
adult things that we need to be able to do, like kind of
Yeah,
how y'all
'cause
said the man needs to be this man before he shows up. I think that's also where I say the mismatch comes in. People aren't coming as whole as they can before they get into
but
these relationships, for
but
sure.
it is it is it not a part of relationships to grow with one another
Yes.
and to compromise with one another? You're coming as two different people, right? And you're going to be coming to compromise with one another in order to build something better than what you have by yourself. So wouldn't you need to be growing together, and you wouldn't be coming complete? Because if I'm complete, then what
Well, that's why I said as complete as you can. Is
okay,
I worded it very specifically,
okay, my fault.
because even for example for myself, I know that when this is presented to me, it may be a little bit of a tussle at first. Like I know me enough to know I'm going to be the one that's going to be like watching and questioning, but I'm also the person where I couldn't answer the question about the relationship because in the short period of time I've been dating men, I've never been in an actual like this is someone that I accept as the man or the leader or whatever that may look like in that dynamic. Because I personally just have never met anything that matched me. But I also had to realize there's a lot more of me that I need to also figure out too. Because the compromise shouldn't be some big things. It should be, okay, let's not leave the dishes on top of the counter because I like them put away. Like it shouldn't be these major, huge, big things. And I think that's where a lot of people get into these dynamics and it ends up being these huge things because they really were not matched in the first place, for example. Like, for example, I don't mind cooking because I love cooking, but it's like, I don't want to always cook either. So these are things that if you didn't know that about me, you just assume, oh, she likes to cook all the time. You looking for a meal every night, and then I'm not cooking one night. It should be like lighthearted things, not these heavy, big things that I feel like a lot of relationships end up tearing apart over.
Absolutely. I also think too, like some people don't put in the work to understand and develop a true identity for themselves, and they wait to get into a relationship to discover what they're looking for. And in my opinion, it's like, you should know what you're looking for. You should know who you are, where your boundaries are, where your standards are. And then obviously you find somebody that complements that so that you have a solid foundation. But a lot of people go into relationships not really knowing what they're looking for, and they kind of like want to go with the flow, and then that's where you run into a lot of these fundamental differences, and it's like, yeah, you're not compatible. Now you're trying to force the puzzle piece to fit, and it's just not fitting.
Mhm. I was gonna say to what Freshmaker said. I think it's you guys are really small on my screen. But I think that is like that's I think that's the problem a lot of times, that people, they don't have that understanding that there's a whole nother personality here in this house. I gotta see how what I do and what I say comes off, and vice versa. I have a friend who, her and her husband, what they do every day, they come in the house, they say, what's your percentage? I think that's great, because it automatically, as soon as you come in, it don't matter what's going on, how your day is. This is what we discussed. My percentage is this. All right, cool. Now I know where you are. I know I need to give you a little bit more time to get yourself together. And it has worked for them. But I think a lot of times people get defensive. If you come in the house and you're quiet, it's like, what's wrong with you? You have, and then that's immediately how people usually respond. What's wrong with you? Or if you, take a little bit of time to get yourself together, your thoughts, it's like, then you must be mad at them. I think that we just need to have those conversations in the beginning.
Yeah, I run into
Can
a
I ask a
lot
question?
of
What is
boundary
everyone's
pushers.
definition? Ladies,
Oh, sorry.
what I know we
Sorry,
well
what'd you
into the
say?
leadership leader question. What is a leader to you guys?
Somebody that
Ladies, I mean.
is self-aware, that can relationship build.
Ladies, I mean.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ladies.
My bad.
I mean, I said it before when I said what I would be looking for in a spouse. Somebody, to me, a good leader is somebody who is God-fearing. And, if you are God-fearing, there's something in Islam for every aspect of what a leader does. Being a provider, taking care of his health, taking care of his social emotional skills, being a good communicator, being patient. And again, when you fear God and you know that everything that you do, you're going to be held accountable for, you move differently, you operate differently. Somebody who's in tune with that, to me, that's a good leader.
I can agree with her.
Nobody else?
Only because
Go ahead, Toya. You good?
oh,
It's
okay.
just Keisha got
No,
a
I was
delay.
saying I can agree with her. Oh, okay. Only because I feel like a leader to me kind of looks like the person my dad was to me. Whenever I had a problem or if I felt like there was something I couldn't handle, I would go to him because I felt like he always had the right answers. Maybe he didn't have all the right answers, but I felt he did. I always felt safe in my father's presence. I never felt like he was going to lead me astray. So, if I can find someone who can embody that energy, that's a leader to me. But also, my dad knew where he was going.
I think the leader is more like a conductor, but the conductor is nothing without the orchestra itself. And they remember that and respect that. And I think that's kind of like, it's like you're supposed to make sure it's kind of going all together in the flow of things, kind of checking in to oversee hey, the thing that is delegated to you, you're doing it, and do what you're supposed to also do at the same time.
So I just asked that because you didn't give your definition. Sorry.
Paris, I get to go ahead.
So I would say a good leader for me is, for one, have a program for me to fit in. And what that means is already have that vision of where, you're trying to go, what we're trying to do. Like, you have to have some type of vision or program for me to even be able to fit in or follow. A leader also for me is someone that's able to communicate, very well, so in a problem solver as well, and a good decision maker. Like, I need to know that, when we come against any problems or obstacles, that you have a level-headed mind and you're good with making, right decisions, even though every decision may not be the right decision, but you're 9 out of 10 making good decisions. And someone that's patient. You got to understand that I'm a blondie and a princess, so you got to take your time with me. But yeah, so a leader is just a balance of all of those things for me.
So, Jay, did you? Oh.
I was about to say, what freshman?
I was gonna say,
what you think about that?
Yeah,
you think about that?
Hold on. I think Lakeisha had a thought process. She asked that for a reason. I'm going to see where she was going with it.
Yeah,
I think she was
gonna
going
say,
somewhere with
I feel like a leader sets the direction, right? I feel like a leader should set the direction of where everything should go first and foremost. I feel like a leader should, when he's making the direction, take responsibility for the decisions of that direction that he decides to give, right? Whether good, wrong, or right, indifferent. I feel like a leader protects the well-being of the relationship, the family, the home, the everything. I feel like a leader listens. I feel like he accepts accountability. I feel like a leader should be willing to make sacrifices for everybody that he's leading in the household. So, but my main thing is I feel like the leader should set the direction. Once the direction is set, everybody, I should fall in line. When I was a soldier, when the drill sergeant got in front of the formation, and he, sorry, y'all know I'm military, but when he said what he said, guess what? This was it. You know what I mean? We knew he was the leader, and not because of his rank, but because how he led it. You know what I mean? So we knew like certain drill sergeants we couldn't play with, right? Where others we'd be like, we won't get in trouble with him because he's soft, so we would take him for granted. But certain leaders, like kind of like what Mont kind of said, he set his tone from the very beginning. I don't think I've yet to have someone set the tone of what this is about to be. It was more so like, you my woman, I'm the man, we here. And, so I like direction. So I feel like
I'm still interested in hearing what Freshmaker said, but I before we move to that point, I wanted to ask, what do you think that would look like if a man executed it? If he said, "Oh yeah, she's soft, so I'm going to do this," or "She's soft, I know I can get away with that," I think it would be categorized as some sort of abuse and
manipulation,
right?
Which
Go ahead,
sows
Freshman.
dissent, which is counterproductive. So, like, we're kind of telling on ourselves here. I feel like there's a little bit of Santa Claus, Teddy Bear, and G.I. Joe combined in this descriptor, and it isn't sunshine and rainbows. There is some validity to some of the things that have been said, but to Mont's credit, it is kind of a short end of the stick thing when you compare it to what you see everybody else get from your leadership. But when you take pride in what it is that you do and the fruit that comes from it, it won't seem like so much a short end of the stick as far as being a leader. But it is you're going to be strategic. You're going to be self-aware. You're going to be able to build relationships well, and you're going to be empowering. Keisha did also mention be able to sacrifice. And that actually is something you could take pride in itself. But to the empowerment tip, if your leader, like Mont was talking about earlier, is able to coach you, then we won't necessarily have these ideas to where there is a question to the leadership. We're just going along with it because the coaching has proved to bear fruit. Once the coaching has proved to bear fruit, there shouldn't be a consistent habitual line step or question. It's okay to respect the title. Players gonna fuck up sometimes. And I think sometimes what we do is we tend to judge broadly someone over their latest misstep, as opposed to being able to see the track record that they have behind them that has built them up to the place to where you already respect them. And I think when we do that, we definitely fall short of the potential that we could have. There's nothing, well, I ain't gonna say there's nothing, but it is pretty gratifying if you do slip up, that even in the midst of that, somebody else still has respect enough to come to you and say, it's all good. I know you better than that. Or I'm not even worried about it because I know you could handle it. Or I got you. I believe in you, whatever. But it does become the short end of the stick if you do fuck up and people start to immediately doubt you. What am I with you for if there can't be support in the midst of me having a storm?
I think that sounds easier said than done because I think it also depends on the offense. because we're talking marriage, family. This could be a matter of us losing somewhere to live. This could be a matter of a business still going really awry. This could be now we're short for something. So I understand what you're saying. Like there's small missteps and things like that. But a lot of times it sounds like it was either a bunch of small things over time that prove that your track record is actually trash, or it was major things that were highly effective. And then it is difficult to ask someone to be supportive when the support kind of feels counterproductive to the way you just effed over our family.
It's difficult, but that's a part of duty. Yeah, okay, let's say we lost the house and you with me.
Absolutely.
You
I
with
think
me
it's
in- are
also
you
the
with me in the
reaction
valley?
though.
Are you
I
with
was
me in the
gonna s-
valley? Are you with me in the valley and the peak, or just the peak? Sometimes
No,
it could be some shit that we in. We can
true.
much easier get out of it if we're working together, as opposed to you worried about, how long we gonna be in it. Don't worry
Um,
about it. Follow the lead up out of there.
Fresh maker.
right. So
I just have one small question, really.
Sure.
I think my question stems from how did you lose the house, right? Is it something that we could have worked on together financially, or were you outside gambling and gambled our house away, and that's the decision that you made?
Okay, if I put you
so
at
I
risk based on if I put you at risk based on a desire that I couldn't control, cool,
Okay.
right? If I tried to put us in a better position and it didn't work out and we have to downsize because of it, I take that L, I take that accountability. You are still under the umbrella. Our lifestyle
Yes.
may change a little bit, but is it going to change the way you look at me because I took a gamble to make our life better?
No, I think
I
that's
think
the context that's needed, because if
Yeah,
you
okay.
took a gamble to make our lives better and it didn't work out, I'm still there to support you. But if you're just gambling with our lives in general.
Well, I think that's outside of I should be fair here. I
This is
think
where I
that
think
if
that
you are
even the
communication comes in.
I think if you are acting outside of the bounds of protection by just frivolously gambling, to me, that's not really you're playing around with the family at that point.
Right.
That wouldn't be respectable.
Exactly.
So yeah.
but
I
like
think this
even if
comes
he
into
took
play where
a
some of that communication is lacking in that, like in between the choice that was made and then what happens after. There's a lot of gap in between there. And I think sometimes that maybe men may see that, especially if they're the leader in the house, as over communicating, as in, and also a moment where the ego gets kind of hit in there, where it's like, well, why do you need me to tell you the steps that I'm doing to get to the thing? But it's like that communication moments and check-ins even would be great for just someone to know, okay, you're still on track, and maybe the track is getting off, and saying something before it's like, oh, we're now in the trenches. Like, whoa, then I'm supposed to follow the leadership that got me into the trenches. And so that's where it's like we still have to have that side of, again, good, better, ugly, you are not the leader. So then that there can come fallout to that as
I
well.
think a good part about being a leader is like, let's say we're playing basketball and I pass you the ball. I need to know how to pass the ball to you, right? I need to know how to optimally get you the ball so you feel the most comfortable to score. And I do think that in relationships, men don't say the severity of a situation or maybe what's going on in their mind, because it's not meant for the folks that they're passing the ball to get all of that weight. They're supposed to have more things on their shoulders and communicate what it is that can be handled, and then to be trusted to get through the situation. If I'm asking you to just follow me, I have a plan, cool. Especially if we're in the midst of peril, I don't, or just in the valley, I don't need you constantly questioning or habitually line stepping. Just trust me. You already chose me. So let's
but
get on up out of here.
Because I think that also goes
my
into
only
people
thing,
even trusting themselves, even
but
so. Good point there.
I mean even then I just think like wouldn't you say that in a situation like that, what's wrong with being a little more transparent than usual, just to give her ease. For example, I don't think that would take away, I think that actually adds to your leadership qualities, because you can assess that, you know, actions, you know, the actions that you might have taken have affected others now. And so now I'm taking the accountability for my actions, and I'm giving her that transparency so that at least if she, you know, knew what was going on, for example, or, you know, she understands what the severity of the situation is, that would help her, you know, continue to blindly follow that leadership, where you don't have to do that every step of the way, but at least at the beginning.
So
I
I
mean,
disagree with all of it.
oh,
The reason why I disagree is because that's the part of finding a good leader. So once you found a good leader and you have made that decision that you're going to submit under his leadership, then however he leads should be okay. So if he's not coming in and checking with you every step of the way, he has a reason for it. As a leader of my household, I know how sometimes things can be so stressful, especially when you're making major decisions, and to have someone always come in and want a reassurance and want to feel comfortable and want to ask questions and want to know, it's just like if
It's just
you
like
just
shut
let
the
me
fuck
work
up.
it through, I promise. Like
I
just give
get
me a
that.
second, I got it.
I get
So
that.
as a leader, you shouldn't have to always check in if the person that you're with trusts your decision making. And then I was going to make a comment earlier when you guys were talking about, well, it depends on if it's a major situation or what if it didn't work out and affected our life. You're still under his leadership. So I'm still going to support you, babe. Everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna work it out. We're gonna figure a way. I know you got this because I know I chose a good leader that makes great decisions. He just had a bad decision this time. He's human. It happens. Even if it was a big thing and now we got to figure out where we're about to leave, we're going to figure it out. I got you. We're going to figure it out. What you need me to do? Do you need me to do something in this part? So I think that it's all about supporting and knowing when to fall back and letting that leader lead and make those decisions. If he feel like it's time to communicate and let you know what's going on, then he would do that. That's a part of being a good leader.
I understand what you're saying. However, I'm gonna relate that back to what Real Dope Daddy was speaking of before, where he was like, sometimes my children have questions and I answer them and I give them the whys. So it's like, I don't think you giving me a why or giving me an answer to one of my questions is going to negate you being a good leader. And it's not the fact, if I have questions, why can't you answer it if you're such
One
a great leader?
one of them is
it's
fine. It
not
is
the
the no, true. You got it. Go ahead, bro.
yeah. You guys are just giving us men the reassurance that we should just leave y'all alone because
I mean,
this
y'all
shouldn't be
can,
this.
but I just don't understand why you can't answer a question. Like, if my son is telling me, if I'm telling my son, don't run into the
The
street,
problem is
and he says, Mom, why can't I run into the street? And I say to him, babe, I don't think that's safe. Like, you could get hit by a
I,
car.
I got
The problem
I got
is
you,
you're
Toya.
not a
Thank
child
I
and your child did not choose you. So you chose this man to be a leader. So you should be able to follow his leadership. So you shouldn't be nagging or asking questions every second or every moment because I want to feel comfortable. Or I want to be clarity. If this man is taking that leadership role to take the burden off of you, then allow him to take that burden off of you so you won't have to worry about every step, every decision maker, everything that he's doing. Let him follow through with that. And once he get time or feel like, okay, this is a good time to communicate what I've been doing, he will do that. But let him do that instead of us keep on, well, what's going on with this? Did you handle that? Or how you he don't need all that pressure because he's already taken the pressure off of you, and that's a load on him within himself. Let him work it out and deal with it the way he work it out and deal with it. There's no problem with us just sitting back and just allowing a man be a man if that's what we're asking for.
Paris, so how did you choose your last leader? Because you said we women choose. How did you specifically? How did you choose your last leader? Whoever that was, how did you choose him?
Didn't she
don't
already
let
say
her
something
answer my
about not wanting a
question.
leader?
No,
No.
please. I feel
No,
like it's a
no, she
valid
got to answer my
question.
question. How did you pick? And I quote, once you find you a good leader. So how did you choose, or how do you choose your good leader? Like, because I gotta listen. You gotta listen, right? So you've been listening nonstop to the last men you've had, right? Because they've been leaders. You just listen all the time. How'd you choose to listen?
So the last leader I was with, and I'm trying to honestly answer that question because my last relationship, I just fell in that relationship. He happens to be a good leader and a provider. I just kind of fell in it. So the actual relationship before that, I was engaged and he was a leader of our church. So I seen the way he moved, how he conducted himself, how he took certain roles, how he moved, and we were actually friends way before we actually start dating. I had to actually mentally get out of that friendship mind and look at him a little bit differently. But I got to see how he handled his life and his obstacles, and also take on certain roles within our church and how he maneuvered and handled those as well. So he definitely was a good leader.
But y'all not together.
Right. So why did the relationship end?
Right.
Wait.
Well, the
This ain't
relationship
about
ended.
Paris.
The
I'm
relationship
just
Only
Yeah,
ended
niggas
nah,
because
should
of
know.
so
me.
Nah,
this
Hold
is
on,
this ain't
True.
this
about.
is
Hold on,
Robin.
True. If
You
she
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
walk
answer,
away from
if
a good
hold
leader.
on,
That's
No,
fair.
if she
no,
don't,
I don't have a
right,
problem.
wait. It's fair.
I
If
don't
she's
have a
going to
problem
answer it,
If
keep
she don't
answering.
want to
going.
answer, she
Yeah,
don't got it. She
she's
gonna
going
tell
to
you
answer.
no.
Let her
No,
go. Let her
This
I
is
go. She's
not
going to
about
answer.
Paris.
I
I
don't have a problem. It was
I mean,
because
Answer. Let her
of
go.
me, because I was in the church and I didn't want to shack up. So we went to the courthouse to get married. We did our certificate, all that. But when it came down to doing our vows and all that, we had to rearrange certain things. And I felt like he was stalling. So I just picked
You ain't
up
let
and
that
left and
man
moved
leave.
while he was at work. He didn't even know I left.
Let that
Huh?
man leave. Let
Oh,
that
Yeah.
man leave. It was a reason he was
no.
taking his time.
Right, but
abandon him.
that was where I was at, mentally when I was with him at that time. I was highly in church, and I'm like, I'm not gonna sin and shack up with you. I moved in because we were making this move, but now that you're dragging your feet on this move, then I'm not gonna stay in this position. So that's why
So,
I left. But
so
And I
that was
only
in that,
asked
my
you
only
where I
that.
question
was at
is,
that point.
And
I
I
just
only
have
asked, let me say this, y'all. I only asked that because Paris was saying, we gotta listen, we gotta listen, we gotta listen. Whatever when he say do this, we gotta listen, we gotta. So I'm only asking because maybe I just need to listen more. So I'm trying to see what you did that I don't do so I can learn. That's only why I asked.
no. My question is just at what point
Oh,
did that leadership? At what point did you decide he's not entitled to just you blindly following and you having that autonomy to, kind of practice a little bit of discernment and decide, hey, I don't think he's making the right choices for me. Because at some point, I think like when we have
it
these
wasn't that
conversations,
he wasn't just making the right choices for me, but I actually was in a church at the time, heavy, because I
mhm,
was a leader of my church as well. So my pastor was my spiritual dad. So not only that, I was listening to them as well. So I had
okay.
the pressure of them and us shacking up and being leaders of the
So
church and how that looks. So
so
that's
are
the time I
you
took
are
myself
you saying
out
you
of the
regret?
equation.
Are you saying you regret that decision to not continue with that relationship, or was that like the right decision to make?
Was it an emotional decision?
I mean, I'm not asking in that sense. I'm
Yeah.
saying because at
Mhm.
some point
So the
as
reason
women,
why
I feel like we have
the
to
reason
be
why I stalled with answering that question is because I'm not religious anymore. So yes, I did not
got it.
make a wrong. I wouldn't want to go back to that. That's my main
Okay.
reason.
Yes.
I have a
I mean, I
question.
didn't want to get into like the details or anything. I just was saying like as women, I feel like, of course we want to promote marriage, we want to promote healthy leadership, we want to promote healthy marriage, but I think at some point we have to be mindful with the language that we use because when we continue to tell women that just follow, blindly follow and just trust whatever, especially if he's making decisions that are affecting the household, at such a great capacity, at some
I think
point,
that we should
you
be
know,
able to still do that
human,
because I
yeah.
was actually, so I was with my ex-husband for 15 years and he was a great leader and I followed everything. There was some times where, we had to relocate, we had our ups, we had our downs, but I
Mhm.
still trusted his leadership. I never questioned him. I never interfered with his decisions. He never even really told me a lot of the stuff that, he was doing behind the scenes, if it didn't have anything to do with our business that we was working together with. But I didn't leave that situation because he wasn't a good leader. I left that situation because I was in a B situation. However, if that wasn't a part of the equation, I would
Mhm.
100% be back with my husband. 110%. He was an excellent leader. I didn't have to worry about any of the logistics at all.
I think
Mhm.
that's where the disconnect is. That's where the moment of, and I didn't necessarily like how that interaction just went just now, but the point is like, we have these conversations, like these things in action, what does that look like? And unfortunately, a lot of times it doesn't go very well in the end for one reason or another with a certain dynamic a lot of times that we're seeing now. So that's where when the conversation is like this blind follow moment, it's like, in what space and capacity in your life as an adult should you ever blindly follow anything at this point? Like let's be like completely, when we're
I
saying
don't think
blindly,
that
that's a very
is.
Just saying
specific
blindly.
statement and wording. That just means
But you're
literally
not
like I'm covering my
blindly
eyes to this, I'm
following.
pretending
Yeah,
it doesn't
I don't think
exist.
that
You're
she said
we,
blindly.
we hold on, Trev. We do this thing where we conflate extremes, right? You're not blindly following. You chose that person. So you trusted them enough to choose them. So when they make a decision, you already trust them. You've seen them make good decisions. So it's not blindly following them. Now, there may be points to where they may not tell you everything that's going on in the situation, but you've already seen them perform to the level that you deem good enough to choose them. So it's not blind. You are following who you chose.
You know the thing
And I
about
think a
leadership.
lot of times
Hold on. Leadership is a
people,
lot like working
sorry,
out,
go
right?
ahead.
I'm sorry, like being in a relationship and choosing a leader. It ain't started yet until it start hurting, right? When it comes to following your man, until it gets difficult, you haven't done anything yet, right? Once you find it difficult to follow, like, oh dang, like I really do think, that's when it starts. That's when it counts. That's when you actually realize, oh, is this what I want to do? Is this where I want to be? Right? When it start hurting. Go ahead, Trey.
Damn, Mont. Damn, Mont. See, sometimes you scare me. Then you come back and you say stuff like that, my guy. Like that. That's my boy. Absolutely. This is great that we're discussing this because again, I don't get why this is so difficult. You guys, to me, are removing the.
Damn, I knew he was about to cook
Yeah,
too.
even out.
Yeah, I felt like he
All right.
was
Well,
about
I
to
have
cook.
something
Hold
to
on,
What Mark is
hold on. He
saying.
back.
He's back.
Go ahead, True.
No, forgive me, you guys. Is it doing it again? It's doing it again.
You good?
No,
You
you
good?
good.
You good?
Okay, I see some circles spinning. My fault. I think this is void of the fact, and this is what makes me like kind of take a pause. Like, okay, so the women that are choosing these men clearly are of sound mind and body, and they're smart, right? But then somehow, some way, when the power shifts, and now you recognize him as leader, you're in this relationship. It's almost like you're in this relationship with the understanding that now life's not supposed to occur or happen. And the minute that there's any shift, weakness, decay, now I need to go revisit the fact that I chose this man because something was a misstep. Now, to be fair, with me assessing women, that seems to be a current thing with you guys' train of thought. Assuming, is it difficult for you guys to make solid?
God, no.
I think the
All right,
question
And
I
he's
had something real
gone.
quick. I'm about to
Damn,
finish
that
what I
was
was
a
gonna
good
say.
Damn, what
So
I
look,
happened
didn't,
there?
I didn't
he'll
want to
be back. He'll be
combo.
back.
Hey,
He'll be
you
back.
ain't. Hey,
I
Quinn,
got
you
y'all.
ain't.
I wanted
He'll
to
be right
combo.
back. I got y'all in the meantime.
I
So
think it is
what
difficult.
it looks like to me is like people know exactly what they're getting into. they know exactly what they're getting into. It's not like everybody comes in as a Trojan horse and then all of a sudden you get this surprise. I don't feel like being responsible anymore. Surprise. I'm not going to be a good leader anymore. I think that people get into a situation and then they just don't take the time to consider what it's actually going to be to live with that situation. You don't know what it's going to be like, and it's something that you probably could understand, but we don't take the time to think about it, right? Like, and I could give you an example of where men mess up with this. Men would mess up with this when they try to wife the joint that they already knew was outside, right? We know what it is that she's doing, right? We picked her up off the curb, matter of fact, but she got the booty that I've been waiting to catch for a minute, right? She with the joint, she and me with it. I'm not gonna get any more than the explicits, but yes, she does all the explicits, right? And that's what I wanted. And I'm trying to wife it, man. I'm really, really trying to wife it because I'm so attracted to that. And I know in the back of my mind what it was going to be like. I knew the degree of difficulty that it was going to take for me to be able to convert, if even possible, which most times it's a waste of life to try to do that. But then rethinking, like, nah, he really got this part right here, which I really shouldn't be focusing on, but I could work on the other stuff. I could probably convince him enough to be a leader. I can convince him enough to be loyal. We know he wasn't loyal before, and he was getting all the joints, but I'm sure me, he's gonna want to settle down with for sure. And if we go into situations with this train of thought, you're bound to lose. And I think that's where we're falling. I don't think that anybody's being fooled. I think that after 1, 2, 3, 4, some of us 10, 20 relationships, you start to develop some sort of muscle memory, some sort of discernment that should work in your favor. But some of us are so damn hard-headed that we have to learn the same lesson over and over again.
So, Trev,
A lot
do
of
you
people date
think
the same
that
people over and over again in different bodies.
Mhm.
A lot of
What's
times,
up,
some
Keisha?
I was gonna
You
say,
right.
so you said a lot of times we go in it as women, we know. Do you think that it's fair to say that some people, men and women, show up as representatives and sometimes they hold it for long periods of time? And I love stories. So my ex-husband, when I met him, he was like in the church. So he said, I'm so into God. And parents made me think of this too. And God is this, God is like, God. He was just preaching and teaching. But then after a while, I was like, why I'm going to church by myself? Like, what weird is that? And don't say I changed him, y'all, because no, I didn't. But I was just wondering, like, and then he was just like, I'm this and I'm this. It's kind of like Mark. I'm the man, I'm the leader because I lead and I lead. And then it was like,
Can I ask you a question with that?
yeah, go ahead.
Did you actually see him go to church? Did y'all go to church
Yeah, we
together at some
went.
point? On
Yeah,
a
for a
regular
few
basis, y'all were going
for
to church together.
yes, we were.
I find that to be more. This is where I definitely agree with Trip. I find that to be more rare than it is regular, because if we
Yeah.
really pay attention enough to people in general, we can always look at so and so, but we completely just disregard the little things in the person that we're trying to make a life with.
And maybe
My
I
sister
did.
said the little things will always turn into the big things. People talk about red flags. She said no, pink flags. I love my sister saying that to me. She's like, the little things, even when you have a roommate, think about that. The little things of someone leaving like dishes here, it don't sound bad at first, but then it's like every fucking day I come to this motherfucking. That's what happens. People are ignoring those things that, again, they also don't know themselves that that's going to even bother them over time either, and they ignore who they are too.
I think that, so if I can have a transparent moment, I think for me when I got married or when I was going through that 8-month engagement and all that, it looked good because I was getting married. Does that make sense? Like I was hype
Okay.
about getting
Listen,
married.
A lot
listen,
of people want the
Yeah,
Lakeisha,
title.
you
A
are
I'm
lot of
being
people want the
you are
title.
honest.
saying the quiet part out loud because this is
Okay,
the reason, the main
so
reason why women want to get married is for the look, so they can flex on all the other homegirls. Look, I got this ring. I'm married. I've arrived. I'm here, and not just that, but it's a good feeling, right? If it's a sense of
I think for me,
accomplishment, it gives you
it
a
wasn't
sense of worth.
flexing on nobody because all my friends are married. I'm still single one, but I think it was for me. I think during that time, I think it was the excitement of, right? being married to somebody that was God-fearing in the church, deacon, all that at the time. And I was just like, okay, I can work on. I mean, I'm half hood, half holy. So I was like, I could be worked on during that time. But then it just slowly shifted. But it was the excitement of it all. Yes.
So you were trying to
So
find
wait,
something to
Lakeisha,
heal
let
your
me ask you something.
unholiness, is what it sounds like.
I think we're
Well,
missing the
hold
indicators,
on,
right?
Trey.
So,
Go ahead.
oh my bad.
No, you go ahead. I just wanted to put this post up that I came across since she said that. But if you want to respond to what she was saying, go ahead.
Yeah, not long. I think we're just missing the indicators here, right? You'll look at a person and ignore all the things. I see people do it. Miss Mack might have said it a second ago, but when you're looking at your homegirl, she got a new dude. You find every single thing that nitpick that's wrong with him. All the indicators are easily identifiable, but all of a sudden, when it's you and you right up under, it's right under your nose. You can't somehow understand what's going on. It's extremely difficult for people to not know these things about someone. I think that I can say for men on our side, we spend way more time courting and way less time vetting, and that's usually our demise, right? And we look at the good in people, and sometimes we give people the benefit of the doubt when they're no more than the doubt or the benefit. But sometimes seeing the good in somebody is the worst thing that you can do for yourself. Sometimes you just have to be pragmatic about it because it's your life, right? And I understand that love and all of that is a beautiful thing, but to me, you got to get to that point. I think you should really start to assess these things, and if you don't know about characteristics, character traits, and habits, and it's something that you have to investigate because when you want to find out homeboy a cheater, all of a sudden you could become Matlock or whoever the hell you need to be to find out if he's cheating. I think you should put that same amount of investigation skills into vetting your man when you want somebody long term. And here's another thought. Try having some conversations about just life things, about decision things, just about scenarios things where you'll figure out how their mind works. I think one of the main things that I've learned to find out about relationships, me, myself included, is I need to know what type of frame of mind you have. That's the most important thing. I don't really care about the superficial shit as much, none of that. But my main thing is your frame of mind. How do you operate in life? Because one thing that I know that people do one way, they do it all the way. If you're a slob everywhere. If you have poor work ethic, you're probably going to have poor relationship ethic because you're just not disciplined, and some people are just inconsiderate. So when you start looking at their core values, you'll quickly figure out what it is you need to know about that person. My bad, Jerry. You
And
can run it
how
from
is
me.
this
No, you're all
person
good.
supposed
You're
to
all
be a
good.
leader and they weren't even a leader where they was working at this whole time you knew them either? And I don't think a lot of people are in love. I think a lot of people are in limerence. Like, and then we're also ignoring that person's not even leading their own life. Like, really, like, look at the, like, over, if you look at the whole overall picture, is that person even leading their own life?
Wait, Trey, you wanted to say something?
Go, True.
Thank you guys for being patient with me. It's been technical difficulties. It's freaking ridiculous. Now, ladies, y'all just educating me tonight. I appreciate it. It is just being reaffirmed that men just really honestly just need to continue to go their own way because this should not be that difficult. In my opinion, the mere fact, everything you guys were saying in some cases makes sense, right? Where do we as men start to assess how we should dethrone or remove your position in the relationship when you are not conducting yourself to the manner or maturation that is woman? What does that actually look like? Because we are supposed to be leader. I agree. So if I'm leader and I'm not holding up my standard as such, you are allowed to now second guess my position. How does that look from our end, from y'all perspective?
I think that goes in hand with also knowing what you're wanting to, as a leader, delegate to that woman, and her to actually have a full understanding of what that is and what that actually means. I think, unfortunately, that's why I was like, it's easy to find a wife. I think it's easy to marry someone, but to find a wife that's going to actually uphold that delegation on her end without having to be held under some like scrutiny, I think that is the most difficult part, because unfortunately, and I've heard y'all say this in different manners a lot of times, there's no real way to gauge other than the duties that you are asking of your wife to know if she's slipping in that space or not. And I think maybe that's a lack of also some of the conversations, because I think if we had more of these conversations in dating or whatever, we wouldn't clash so much with these conversations, because there would be an actual better understanding of what the other side is actually saying on a more regular basis if you're talking to people. Because it sounds crazy that people have dated so many people, and I just mean dating, just talking to people, getting to know people, not nothing past that, just talking to somebody. To have heard people have been doing this for so many years, at some point, I'm lost in how you're not hearing the same thing across the board if you're really having the right conversations of understanding what most men are even wanting in general. So I think there's no way to hold it from the other end, unfortunately, in some manner. If that makes sense.
That's the challenge
that's the hard part.
Yeah, that's the challenge I'm personally having. It is convenient that my position is static. And again, I'm not arguing it from someone who I believe I arrived at manhood some years ago. I understand what I'm supposed to do, but I was also under the understanding, and this is me being honest and transparent, that me being human and me being with another human woman, that through the development of our relationship, I'm not perfect. Neither are you, but I'm never looking to remove you out your position from holding you in this realm of perfection. You are going to get on my nerve. You probably have already gotten on my nerve, but I have allowed my care for you to supersede your inadequacies. I've allowed you room to grow. I've given you ample opportunity to better yourself, and not am I looking to demote or remove respect because you are my woman. I've claimed the position of being your man, right? That's the love part. But from what I'm hearing from the women, see, that's not what we're getting. And I think that's the issue in relationships now. You guys want Superman, Jesus Christ, Tupac, Genuine, and Jeff Bezos all at the same time. But depending on how you feel in the circumstances, because all y'all share the same sentiment. I trust him until he puts me in a compromising situation. I trust him until I'm uncomfortable. Y'all not ready to be wise. None of you. In my honest opinion.
So
true.
Correction, I
the
didn't say that.
unfortunate thing is that a lot of women, though we are emotional beings and creatures, like not only, but the main ones in that space, there becomes a point where you have to learn how to regulate that shit. And that's the part that's missing, because your emotions definitely can overtake. And if your emotions become more of a deciding factor versus an indicator of, okay, maybe I need to sit here and think about this, like, why am I even in this emotion? A lot of people just skip to I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm and go into survival mode almost. Like everything just goes off, versus having the moment, like you said, of being like, okay, why did I even trust this person in the first place? That thought process is missing in the back end, where it's like, yeah, you can be emotional, but that doesn't mean you have to act on those emotions. You know, for example.
Where's the commitment?
Sorry.
Like, where's the commitment? What I sometimes see with women collectively is you guys don't second guess your position as mother. When you have a child, I don't see women in mass ever say, when that kid acts like an asshole, I don't no longer want to do this. I don't see that. Y'all committed. You 10 toes down because you gave life to something and you're proud of that. The same energy is supposed to be for the man that you choose to be by your side. It's actually supposed to supersede the child. But that's, to me, the disconnect. And that's why, again, I don't understand. I understand, but it's like, okay, this makes sense why relationships suck nowadays. Because it's always in a state of, I'm having to reposition my position with you. The performance is not the issue. It's the fact that I'm not able to really rest in my position with you, even though we chose each other. And all y'all said, I chose him. So that means that something in your decision-making is inadequate. You don't either trust yourself, or you only trust it under the conditions like Mont laid out. It's perfect. That's why I'm saying collectively, I don't think women of today are really ready for this, because there is no perfection. They got people losing jobs by the thousands with corporations that got billions, but nobody's quitting and not saying I don't ever want to work. But something about relationships just seems to have a weight that I don't think any man is really capable of holding long term in current day.
It becomes a
True,
like
you
you
know,
said with the Superman, becomes a savior moment. It's like I'm now married, I'm saved. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to be the what is it, soft life and all this. Where it's like that's not what actual like relation committed like husband wife. Like I'm glad that I was able to see the ugly in my grandparents' marriage and even my parents' marriage to understand that it isn't always rainbows and sunshine. So when people talk about like the Cinderella story, I be sitting there like, who sold y'all this for real? Y'all really believe that? Like I really be lost because I've always had reality in my face, one way or another, whether I liked it or not. But then I also had conversations with these people as I got older and over the years of asking real questions. So this goes back to not necessarily therapy in the traditional sense, but this goes back to that therapy conversation we had about individuals and really understanding what you're getting into. And even with my idea of getting with a man, I'm never going to try to shake his purpose or his space. I'm coming into this to see what you got going on for real and really listen to what you're saying, not what I want to hear, watching what you're doing, not wanting to see what I just want to see. And I think a lot of times that's what's happening, where it's like, oh, he kind of okay. Let me go ahead and get into this, and then that kind of okay turns into why can't I trust him? Because he was kind of okay when you started. You didn't trust him in the first place.
True. You know, I think that's what you're saying makes sense, right? Because that's how a lot of women's disposition. But I think that's why you're a leader, right? That's wisdom, knowing that everything's not always going to be great, admitting that I'm not always going to make all the best decisions, but I'm going to be shooting 90 from the field, right? Like that's something that she doesn't know, but you communicate that to her, right? There will be times where I need you, you know, there will be times where you will question me, right? But that's leadership. That's probably in this. I never read the Bible, but I would assume that it's in there where he says, yo, there will be times where you feel this way, right? And this is what you do when you feel this way. So I think that's your job that's what I do to my woman. You know, I communicate that to her, and she gets that and she understands the perspective after she talks to me.
I think, and yeah, there's so many, it's a spectrum, right? Being a leader, to me is a step-by-step type of thing. You don't arrive at leader, that's it. You should always be striving to grow, in my opinion, as a developed human. With that said, I more so am coming from the place of position. It is extremely difficult to execute on where I lie if my position is constantly being challenged. That's the issue that I have. So if I'm a man and I've decided to be with you and you equally decided to be with me with free mind, free body, and you are on board for it, the conditions of things shouldn't question my position, in my opinion, especially if I'm really not putting your life in danger. And all the examples have been extreme. Is he going to put us outside? Hopefully not, right? Is he going to beat me? Well, hopefully not, sure. But I just don't see men in the same position that y'all see men. And I've been privileged to be serving the military and play sports at one time. Most men don't, especially when it comes to women, they don't move in this manner. It's almost like you guys
have gamble the house away, True.
Say that again, what happened?
They're gonna gamble the house away, True.
I'm saying, like, how many dudes like that? What is that? He gonna go away, get some milk, and never come back. I'm like, how many times did that actually happen on a daily?
True. I think that's the problem. I think that like we assume that all of these guys, like, I think these is real life situations that a lot of women be like dealing with niggas, and I be hearing stuff. I be like, dang, he did what? Listen, I would have never thought that my mom husband would go, you know, and become a new person that today, right? Because when I was growing up, he used to be getting on my ass about like, yo, like how you walking over something, and like he just used to be real like on my ass about those type of things. And now I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to him, but he went through something in life, and I don't know if he, you know, got depressed or whatever. But he's not the same man. He's not dependable anymore. I see that nigga still got to put my fucking lights up in my install some truck lights for me. That nigga ain't. It's been fucking a year. I just ain't call him back. Like, you know, but women, they be going through these situations with these guys, and it reasonably it could be due to them. He probably was never a leader anyway, right? And they did a poor job vetting. But they do be going through some shit with these niggas though.
I think a lot of times what happens is when you do run into somebody that is going to be a leader and they give you the knowledge on what is required to stay in a position that you want to do. Now that you know better, you must do better. And some folks are not willing to do better in order to sustain their position. And so they will go somewhere where they don't have to do better. And they end up being able to complain about a bad situation. Again, this goes back to desirability. You want him to desire you. Do you know what he desires? He desires somebody that is going to follow and trust and not make the situation counterproductive. So if you're not willing to do that, then you're not in position to actually have what you say you want.
Let me get to this super chat right quick, and then I got this clip. Mr. Fuggy Ninja Folks with the $49.99. Women have short memories. What you have done for me lately, men's good deeds don't accumulate as credit earning interest in a woman's memory. A man can lead well for 10 years, have a bad 11 year, and a lost the leadership title in the women's mind. Thank you there, Mr. Ninja Folks. You guys haven't already hit that like button. Let me go ahead and run this clip. Y'all ready? Toya, you there? I don't want you to miss the clip. Miss Toya. Paris.
I'm here just dealing with the kids.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to make sure.
I'm here.
Okay.
Just listening.
All right.
Here to tell you it is still possible and it is still real. And it starts with us. Ladies, it is our responsibility to get back in place so God can use us in the most perfect and powerful way He designed us. Today, I want to share with you the very first step in that realignment. Maybe you had a mother who taught you when to speak and when to be silent. Maybe you had a father whose look alone told you when you had gone too far. Or maybe no one taught you any of that. Whatever your background has been, that's okay. Because my intention is to prepare you to become the most powerful, purposeful, beautiful version of the woman God already placed inside of you. Let's get into it. There is one skill that separates women in healthy relationships from women who stay single and frustrated. It's not looks. It's not money. It's the ability, ladies, to listen. Most women have never been taught this, and it is costing them everything. Good men are not leaving because of incompatibility only. They are leaving because of something happening in the very first minutes of every conversation. You cannot show up well in a relationship if you do not know who you are. If you do not know your own triggers, your own patterns, your own weaknesses, you will react instead of respond every single time. Watch what happens when a man holds a woman to a point. The moment he asks a direct question, she stops engaging and starts defending.
But let me ask you this question, because this is basically going to tell me everything I need to know. What do you think a man does to show that he's serious about you and wants to for you to be his woman? What do you think that looks like? And it's going to tell me everything I need to know about your mentality.
Okay, I would start off by saying, like, they asked me about my goals, you know, basically, like, what he believes in. They're pretty open about what they do and themselves. It's like I said, I've been single for 5 to 6 years by choice.
No, you're not single.
So, like, now that I'm back, you know, actually dating, I only date since then. So, like, it's just they're very open and they ask questions, like, very, like, deep.
This is the thing. You're not single by choice. You're single by circumstance. You're not single by choice.
Why do you say by circumstance if I literally wasn't interested in being in a relationship for the last 6 years.
I'll prove it to you.
Even now,
I'll
I'm
prove it to
still
you.
not
Got you,
interested
got you, got
in
you,
being
got
in a
you.
relationship.
I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. 3 years ago, let's say you were at a bus stop, right? Let's just say you were at a bus stop and you only have 2 options. One of the options are you're going to get on this bus and this man is going to be the best man that you've ever seen in your life. He's the most attractive man. He treats you right. He's loving. He's caring. He does everything that you want. And you knew for a fact, not if he going to do it later. No, you knew for a fact that he would never cheat on you, lie to you, or abuse you. And he was going to be the best man that you've ever had. And y'all was going to grow old and die together. Would you get on that bus and go live that life? Or would you get on the bus where you're just going to continue to be single and still trying to be out here figuring it out? Which one would you choose?
That is a really good question.
Yeah, which one would you choose?
Because it's kind of two answers. Because low key, I don't mind being single for the rest of my life. But I know I'm a good woman, and if when it's
I have to mute you because you women do a lot of babbling and a lot of just rambling. I didn't ask you any of that. None of those things matter to the question I just asked you. Respectfully, I don't care. I'm gonna ask you the question again. You on a bus. You have 2 options on a bus, Callie, and one of these buses is going to be the best man that you've ever seen in your life and the best man you're ever going to deal with in your life. Y'all going to grow old and die together. He's never going to cheat on you, lie to you, or abuse you. He's going to treat you right.
It's a part 2, but I'll stop it there.
The fact that she
You know,
hesitated
get on
really
this
was
She
bus.
enough.
crazy
I'm
as
trying to
hell
get on
because
this
I'm getting
bus.
on that bus.
I'm getting on the bus, baby. I'm on the bus.
I'm getting on that bus. She's wilding, talking
Yeah.
about I don't mind being single for the rest of my life. Girl, are you crazy?
So, ladies, what do you even think what possessed her to give that response or pause or anything?
Her ego of not wanting to, because I've heard a lot of people say I'm single by choice. If that's the case, then do you not desire to be with somebody then? Like, it's like, okay, you're choosing to avoid, but you want to not be single. So it's like it's a thing about my ego about like I'm choosing to be this versus like maybe admitting that you ain't ready for it for real on a real level. Like it ain't there for you yet for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I think her ego was the reason why she wanted to go around that question in that way.
I also think she might
Right,
have been a
because she
little
didn't want to
insecure.
face the fact that what he was saying was true and debunked her logic of wanting to be single by choice. So that's why she paused.
I don't know any women that have been single for 5, 6 years talking about single by choice. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen women say that.
Yeah,
I
they
just
say
don't know
that
if
all
it's
the
accurate or not,
time.
and
They
what would
always
make
say
them
that.
say some shit like that.
I said that before. Because I, was doing a lot of traveling, moving around, and I really wasn't actually trying to be in a relationship. But that doesn't negate if the right person would have came into my life, would I not have chosen to be in a relationship? So yeah, people
So
just
would you
say
have gotten
it.
on the bus or no?
Oh yeah, I definitely would have. I
Right.
would have been the first one on the bus.
Sign me up. I might beat you to it. I'm on that
Right.
bus, buddy.
We be single when we say we're single by choice is because we're single because the right man hasn't came along yet.
I think the only way I would actually open and like be like, okay, I'll take what you're saying by choice. If you were celibate, not flirting, not talking and texting nobody, you were literally like that is not on your radar at all. Kind of an asexual moment. Then I believe you because you're not even making an effort. So I believe you. If you're not making any effort whatsoever, I'll slightly believe you.
But
But
that
most people
still could be
aren't.
debunked because if the ideal man still come along and swoop her off her feet, she won't be single anymore.
Fair.
So that still
I
could be
think
debunked.
I don't know. I think the way that she was talking, it sounded like she was a little insecure, and I definitely did see the ego, but I think it was her ego because she knew she might not be worthy of that type of man to some sort of capacity, and so she was like, I guess introspective
Coping.
enough to understand that I'm not going to jump on that bus because
And she
you
can't.
could give me the perfect scenario exactly, and I'm not going to be able to live up to it. And then, I mean, I think that's better than women who monopolize on men like that and then take advantage of them, and they're not able to meet him at that level.
Matt, you had a different
Yeah, some
perspective?
women just accept their fate.
I'm actually rewatching that clip right now. I'll get right back with you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times
there's
women.
also. Go ahead.
No, I think a lot of times, like all the other ladies saying, I hear women say it all the time, or they say, "Well, my career." A lot of women, it's their careers, or they got so many things going on that they don't have the time to be in these relationships. But yeah,
I think women who say
Excuses.
that have experienced some kind of hurt and they're not trying to make the time. I think that's what it is. I don't think any woman openly says, I'm going to give all my time and effort to a career unless she has been hurt significantly, because that's just not realistic. Your career is not going to be
Yeah.
there to sleep with you at night. So,
And that's bogus, because men have always had careers, and some too, and still make time for relationships. So I don't understand. I don't think most people have to work much more than 8 hours a day. And if you do, then you're probably doing something wrong and probably should take that focus into a different career. So I mean, I
Nurses do.
understand nurses. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
12-hour
got a lot
shifts.
to say. I
Well,
got a
we
lot to
know
say
about
about nurses,
nurses.
but we won't talk about
Get you
nurses.
something
This
to
is
say.
a family show. So we're gonna
what's
we're
wrong with
gonna,
nurses? Now I got to go
not
figure
a
out what's wrong
traveling
with
What
the
you trying to
nurse.
nurses.
say?
Google it.
You a nurse?
I am. I'm just not working in the field.
God bless you. Right.
Great.
I just don't want to work for
that.
12 hours. That's why.
Okay. Gotcha.
And neither does the husband.
So did anybody have anything on what the Mom Dukes had to say on the first portion of it? Her message to women.
I mean,
She's
I would
100%
say,
correct.
How?
What she's saying is very valid. I think it just takes time for us to acknowledge that and receive it. Because a
What
lot of
part?
people can't receive certain things.
Like what?
For instance, if, I don't know, you're with a man and he says, I don't know, I'm going to pull something out of the top of my head. I don't like your hair pulled back into a ponytail. Some people might be like, pull my hair in a ponytail if I want to. But, it's like, you might not be ready to receive that and say, okay, well, maybe I'll wear my hair down instead of putting it in a ponytail.
So
I
why
would
do you
say
think?
too that,
Go
oh,
ahead.
I'm so
No,
sorry.
go
I
ahead.
don't know if it's my
You're
connection
good.
or
You're good.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I
Go
apologize.
ahead.
I would say
You go
too,
ahead.
a lot of people don't do the internal work to heal childhood traumas. So they project a lot of that, defensiveness when they do get into a relationship because of the fact that they can't even identify what it looks like when somebody of authority might be communicating to them at a normal capacity, but they're so used to getting defensive because of certain childhood traumas or whatever, they may have experienced prior to that relationship. So they project it into whoever they're dealing with at the moment.
So you make a great point. But if they're unaware of it, what are we to do, right? Because I say this a lot, but I don't think that men or women are going into relationships with nefarious intent. I don't think that people are. I mean, some of us, form a scumbag, but most of us don't behave like that, right? Where we're trying to be on what they consider demon time and all of this. We're not trying to hurt people on purpose, or trying to be selfish, but like Restoring the Village just stated, there's a situation where people just don't know. They haven't healed from childhood traumas. They don't know what a functional relationship looks like. They don't even know how to love. They don't know how to lead. They don't know how to express affection, and they're at a deficit before they even start. And some people are learning to love. And if both ends communication isn't damn near perfect, when people are coming in at such a deficit, how do you even come to a space where you can have a functional relationship if you are unaware of the issue and the other person may not be aware of how to
Well,
even
I would say
speak on it.
at that point, like that's why I, highly advocate for people to do that internal work on their own, because you can't go into a relationship and treat it like a case study. I think that's also part of adulting is putting in that work in yourself, right? So like I wouldn't expect my partner to identify my deficiencies. I would, try to, practice some sort of, like inner, I guess, evaluation or something, or even go to like, I don't see there's anything wrong with therapy as a whole, right? Like when you have different relationships, because I don't think it's just whatever you're dealing with your partner. I think a lot of those flaws tend to kind of come out in all aspects of relationships, whether it be with your friends, your coworkers. It's just obviously your partner is the one who might get the root of it. So I think, it should be part of like the adulting process to speak to a professional, kind of identify where your triggers might be, what it is that might trigger you. And then when you're in a relationship, it's easy for you to kind of step away and say, okay, in a normal circumstance, I might not have reacted as strongly or as I would have in this situation because of this, and that, because you already know what the issue is at that point.
Yeah, this makes me
I
think a
think
lot
that
because
people
I
know.
I just want to I'm almost done. I just want to get into this like on a micro level because I don't think that we truly have an understanding of this point that just came up, that most of us are wildly unaware of how it is that we look. I'm sure we've all met people who just like, damn, can they see themselves? Damn, can they hear themselves? And culturally, it's just different. Like you'll go to different cultures and you're like, damn, why the fuck are they screaming like that? Some cultures just are louder, right? There are some cultures who pick their noses in public, and they don't say anything wrong with it. But our difference is we see it as weird, right? So these people who are coming out of these relationships that are, they might have been what did y'all say, AB for TikTok or whatever, in the home or whatever the case is, all types of dysfunction. That's all they've witnessed. And so that is the new norm. I've heard women say he don't love me unless he beat me, right? Which is crazy. But what I'm saying is that I'm sure you've heard it. I'm not the only one who. Don't make me a weirdo like the only one I heard that. But either
Or
way,
people feel like they have to go through pain
Not
and heartache to feel
definitely.
loved. Yeah.
I've heard, it
I
wasn't
think
told to
people
me per se,
know.
but y'all get the point. Go ahead.
I think people know. It's just you so
Yeah.
we're in an age where people don't want to take accountability. They don't want to have to make the necessary changes. So actually sitting with themselves and seeing their flaws is a little too much for people. So it's not the fact that they don't know, it's just that they are not willing to make the changes, especially if they haven't come across someone that is they deem worthy enough for them to make that change. So bad behavior or dysfunction, all of those things are not excuses to be that way. Because you've been in an abusive relationship doesn't mean that now I can, become the aggressor because I don't want to be, abused or, whatever the case may be, because that's what I did when I first got out of mine. But the situation is at the end of the day, it's wrong. It's a bad behavior. It's not healthy. Are you willing to take the time out to change? And that's the problem. A lot of people just don't want to change. um my last relationship, the guy, I think I told y'all before, he wasn't used to treating women the way I'm used to being treated. So when he came across me, he didn't really never had to change for somebody else, but of course he's seen that I was worthy to him, I guess, to make those changes within himself, and he was willing to do that, and he tried, and he really did make efforts to change and mold and how he treated a woman and being more softer, and because I'm a soft person, so I had to, express that to him, like, your tone, your this, that, it shuts me down, blah, blah, blah. And he had to understand that, and he made efforts to change it. So I think people know, they just either haven't been with the person that, they want to change for, or they just don't want to take accountability.
So then was the effort not enough with him?
Why y'all always wondering what made the relationship end. It could be a million different things that make the relationship end. Just because I say something good about a person don't mean that's the only thing about the person.
Because we
Yeah,
know
we
you
rooting
we
for
know
him.
you a bad girl.
We feel like you should be with him because of the way he was. You should be there, child.
Well,
We
I mean, I think also too, like
No,
sometimes
he was 11
that's
years younger than me, and I didn't realize the mentality is still the same. So I'm sorry. Go ahead,
no,
man.
we
I
know
mean,
you a bad. We know you've been a bad girl, Paris. That's
but
what it
I
is.
think
Driving the
sometimes
cradle,
like
huh? Still got
yeah,
a groove back.
That's why. That's yeah.
Them nurses, boy.
Go ahead, Storm.
I was just gonna say, I think sometimes that's also part of the process. A lot of times we expect when we go into relationships for both parties or one party to just have it figured out. Unfortunately, some people have to go through that character development. Some people do unfortunately have to go through certain circumstances in their relationships for them to, become aware of the deficiencies or the flaws that they might have. It's easy to say these things from the outside looking in, but you know, sometimes you do have to go through those scenarios in order for you to like come out and really look into like, okay, why did I accept this? Why was this okay? And that's when you start to like put in that work. And I'm not obviously talking about Paris. I'm saying in general, some people you could tell them, hey, why do you let him treat you like this? Or why do you let her treat you like that? And they themselves just, oh, well, maybe if I love them harder, they'll treat me right. And so sometimes they have to go through that to understand, like, you know, there's only some lessons you have to experience on your own, I guess. Why are we?
How do you ladies know you guys are good at relationships? Like, how do you know?
How do you know if you're
Say
good at
that
relationships?
again.
Is a question.
Yeah, how do you know? Like,
Y'all heard that, man.
you said what happened, Fred?
I said they heard you.
Oh,
They got
No,
selective
we
listening.
didn't. No, we didn't.
yeah. I said, how do you guys know that you're good in relationships? Because this is good that we're talking about introspection and that inner work, which typically seems to be like female language. You guys like to talk about that, right? But y'all in relationships a lot of times, and for whatever reason, it's only ever his fault. So how do you know as women that you're actually good at relationships?
I wonder at times, though I desire it, I wonder at times if it's something that would work for me, and would be possible for me, as is. And I have sat back and I've asked that question of not even just partners, but like friends of like, I like to really hear about myself. Tell me. You know what I'm saying? Like, tell me something. And I can also communicate sometimes the why. So for me, a lot of times I'm like, there's certain things about myself I'm accepting that just is. Um, and I hope that if God sends the perfect person to me, I don't mess it up because I don't want to change that one thing. I'm gonna be honest with you, but that's the gamble that I think a lot of people don't want to take and understand. It's like, and that's hard because I don't see I see a grand scale of people trying to attempt to make changes for themselves in some manners, but we live in a time of distractions as well. There's the clubs, the liquor, there's sex, there's a lot of things going on that if what, I'm actually gonna fill this hole instead of actually like healing this hole. Let me pack it with something real quick right now. You know what I'm saying? If you understand what I'm saying. Even when we desire the idea of like a partner and that closeness, we start to get hung up on the physical aspect of that loneliness, and then we end up in somebody's bed. You know what I'm saying? And so it ends up being this cycle of people building things and just filling up a space versus taking the time to be like, why is this space even empty in the first place? That's not easy to get to. Like, there's a lot of steps in the people say the healing process, and I think there's also this falsehood of a healed person. I feel like you could be an absolutely great person as you by yourself and try to partner with somebody and get re-triggered and have this moment again. Even myself, I have this moment of, I'm like, why do I have a hard time sitting here for 10 minutes straight for listening to you talk? Because my father would go on rants and be dead wrong, but I had to sit there and be quiet. But these are the moments where people are not understanding even why the thing triggers them in the first place. So a lot of people aren't getting to the why. They know what, they're not getting to the why part. And before people get to the why, again, they putting something in that space to fill it.
Well, that don't mean
I
they
think that's
healed, then.
Yeah, I think that's good because what was hyper focused on some time ago on the broadcast was communication, and it was about the leadership part. Like, well, if you're the leader, you should be able to communicate to me, which I agree with you, ladies. But I still get to hear most women ever say, well, when I'm in a relationship, I'm actually asking the man I'm in a relationship, how am I showing up? Is there anything I can improve on? Are you actually satisfied with me? Which requires humility. And I think women just safely assume I'm woman, I'm good. He picked me, we straight. No, I agree with you, Miss.
I had a conversation just recently, and his first, because this is someone that was trying to see me on that manner. He said, "I need you to learn how to shut the fuck up." And my first word was like, "What?" I said, and we sat for a second, just looking at each other. I said, "Okay, okay." But I said, "Can I ask a question?" He said, "See, you couldn't even do it right now," jokingly. And I said, "Okay." I said, "But can I ask a question? Can you give me examples?" Because I know for me, the blanket statement of saying that, I'll just be like, I'll be quiet all the time. I take things to an extreme sometimes. So I said, give me examples of what you mean by this specifically. One example was, if he's driving, let him drive where he's driving. Don't try to pull up the GPS and say this way. Don't tell me which way we're going. This is the way we're going. And I said, "Oh, okay." He said, "If I ask you for the directions, that's one thing. If I ask you to pull up the GPS, that's one thing." And I said, "Okay, can I ask where we're going?" Like, so it was this moment of communicating, like, I want the details of what that looks like, and let me ask realistically how I process. But that goes into knowing who you are. I know how I'm going to process in this moment of we're going somewhere. Okay, well, what would I want to ask or want to talk about? Can I ask where we're going? Yeah. And then I said, I put the asterisk of, and if you don't really want to tell me, that means you're trying to probably surprise me or something. Just sit back and relax. So the moral of the story was, you ain't got to shut up all the damn time. But this is a scenario. But I love that he was able to communicate that this is a situation that would, what I mean by this. Like, it's not a shut up all the time. It's just like in certain circumstances, I don't need you to be talking right now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think people are all, like you said, humility comes into play. This comes into healing your ego, because ego is good. It can be good. People always think ego, you got to kill it. No, you ain't got to kill your ego. You know what I'm saying? Make your demons your guard dogs. There's a lot of things that people are missing. So you do have to sometimes sit back and be like, you know what? You have a point there. Okay. You have a point there.
I think it's good if you follow the instructions, but I'm kind of on the fence about it. I know Mott said that that's the way he does his child. He explained to him what it is that he wants, so to make sure they can understand it. But gentlemen, could that be draining for you if you have to do this all the time? You have to break things down all the time?
It's definitely annoying because a part of the leadership, again, is empowering. And if I'm empowering you, and you should feel more comfortable in the responsibility you are given, what you can now accomplish from me coaching. So there should be less questioning because you've already seen the fruit. So it's more annoying. So yes, it would be draining because we already understand the results, and you see that I'm not about to drive you off of a cliff. So let's go. The constant questioning is maybe a minimal way of, I mean, if I'm being extreme about it, it seems like a usurping almost. Like, you're questioning me? I've already proven to you.
I think this is interesting because it's foreign to me, right? The idea of a woman questioning me, but I'm gonna try to deal with the scenarios that y'all brought up. I'm in general, I'm collaborative to the degree that I'm always talking about ideas and stuff like that to my woman anyway, right? So I'm trying to think of a scenario, a situation where it's like, I know there are some times where it's like, yo, we don't have the time or something like that, like time don't permit. So just, we can talk about it later, but this is what you need to do. But I'm trying to think of the situations where you're not on the same page and you're not talking and you're not trying to get her insight, for the most part. Or are we talking about an extreme situation where a woman is asking all the fucking time, every day, about every fucking decision?
I think it could be a combination of both. I think it can simultaneously be happening. Like, you may have a woman that is used to making all of the decisions on her own. And so now she has to bring you into it. And now she has to figure out how to allow you to do things because she used to doing it on her own. And then there's a part of it too where some women just dingy. Like some women, they just can't get, you got to explain everything to them like a child. And so when these things are happening, I know when my kid keep asking me something, I'm like, damn, is something wrong with him? Is he missing something upstairs? Because I'm tried to explain this so many different ways. And as a leader, I have to look at myself to make sure that my teachers are proper. But I'm like, at some point in time, you got to be confident in what you're doing. If you've tried different ways to reach them and they can't reach it, then it's like I might got me a bird. I might got somebody that just can't.
I think
Can't
it's the
function.
cadence. Sorry, JR.
I think when it comes to like women questioning, I understand what everybody's saying, but I also feel like chaos lives in silence and it lives in, the pauses where assumptions can be made. So I definitely do agree that like when you're in the midst of something as a leader, you don't want to also take the time in that moment to have to explain things. But I feel like that's where like women have to practice that discernment and figuring out when and where it's appropriate to look for that assurance. I think obviously when you're in the heat of the moment, it might not be the right time. But if you really need that in dire situations, obviously not all the time, I feel like there should be in a healthy relationship some opportunity or some window at some point for that, conversation to be had. Because I feel like in a lot of relationships, when you leave, you know, those gaps in communication, overthinkers tend to start making the craziest of assumptions. And now you're living two different realities because a conversation was never had.
I think that it's the cadence to answer your question, JR. I think it's the cadence and the spirit behind the questions, because quite naturally, dealing with women, you guys are just inquisitive in ways that we're not, and it's fair. That's what makes you guys beautiful, in my opinion. But I think to the point of, if we're talking about a runway, like if you've learned me, you've learned my patterns. Like my lady does this thing where not so much anymore. When I kick it with my boy, she asks me questions like a girl. Like, oh, well, where's he going to go on vacation? And what airline is he going to take? We don't ask those kind of questions. But at first, she used to ask me those stupid questions. Now she'll start and she'd be like, oh, but you don't ask those questions because you don't care, because you men and y'all don't do that. Exactly. In that context, that would be annoying if you didn't pick up the pattern. Now, if you're just asking questions because you're my girl and you're inquisitive, cool. But I think it's really the cadence and the spirit behind it. If your questions are trying to challenge me in a way that I, in my opinion, don't believe I should be challenged, and then it's constant, that's where we're going to have an issue. And I think most men feel the same way, in my honest opinion.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on what you said too, I think it's with the whole trust thing too, because somebody can ask you something. It's like, damn, you don't trust me? Like I said I would do that. Why did you do it? I told you I would take care of this. But it wasn't quick enough, or maybe she just assumed that I wouldn't do it because this didn't happen last time. So yeah, I get what you're saying, True.
I think also
And also,
I was just gonna say I got the second part to that clip. I don't want us to get too far away from it because it's still with this whole listening. I think listening is a lot of the issue too, because some people are not birds. They understand. They just not trying to listen to what you got to say or what's going on. So let me play the rest of this clip and then we'll go ahead and continue this conversation. A couple super chats came through. We got a Vince Singleton, 9823 with the 10 jewels. Thank you. We also have My Mere Thoughts, 499. You most definitely can be a good person, but still be a subpar girlfriend / wife, 100 emoji. All right, here we go. Make sure there it is right there.
Continue to be delusional.
She's not reacting to him. She is reacting to something inside herself she has never dealt with. Sternness is not the problem. The problem is that no one has ever held her accountable before, so when someone does, it feels like an attack. A woman who knows herself does not crumble when a man is direct. She listens. She evaluates. She responds with clarity. And that changes everything about how men see her. Most women think they understand men. They don't. They understand their feelings about men, and that is a completely different thing. To understand how a man thinks, what he values, how he makes decisions, you have to listen to a man. Not just hear. Listen. It's a distinct difference. He asks a simple, direct question. Instead of sitting with it, she interrupts. She explains. She justifies. She name calls. One woman could not define a word she had used. When pressed, she attacked his character rather than admitting she did not know. A man does not want to walk on eggshells every time he needs to speak truth to the woman he loves. He wants a woman who can receive what he is saying, sit with it, and respond with maturity, not emotion. The woman who listens is the woman a man can trust. That's the foundation that every lasting relationship is built upon, ladies. It's trust. There is a pattern that plays out over and over again. A man makes a point, a woman cannot counter it, so instead of thinking, she attacks.
One, I'm gonna apologize because I very much wasn't disrespectful to you.
That's okay. Hold on. That's a backhanded apology. Whether you felt like it was or not, first of all, I don't need you to apologize to me. I just want you to calm your energy down. If you felt like it wasn't disrespectful, cool. I don't need you to apologize. I just want you to calm your energy down. Just relax a little bit and let's have a conversation as adults. There you go. Now go ahead.
Right, you're right. So, all right. So, So, I'm saying, right. So, if I'm dating a guy, right, and we're dating, and he asks me, he suggests or asks me, like, "Hey, can you change your clothes? I don't like what you're wearing." Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a boundary for me, right? That's not controlling. But then you have men. We're not going to act like men are not controlling or they're not trying to control women. You have situations where women get into situations with guys where you feel like it became a boundary, and now it becomes down the line. He's a controlling man. He doesn't want you to be with your family. He doesn't want you to be with your friends. He's controlling your dynamic. And I want to know, do you feel that as a boundary or do you feel it as controlling?
Okay, so let me clarify what I was saying. So do you know what an example is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so when I brought up Chris Brown, I was given an example to say the reason why I brought that up was because a lot of women, they pick and choose when they want to insert the word control. So if your boyfriend, who's a regular guy, if he tells you to change your outfit, you won't listen. I'm not saying you, I'm giving an example. You is in hypothetically who it is. You won't listen and you'll say, no, that's controlling and that's insecure. But if Chris Brown says it, right, that same woman hypothetically don't think it's controlling or insecure because it's Chris Brown. So the point that I was making was it's not about what's being said. It's about who said it. That's the only reason why I brought up Chris Brown, meaning that if a woman reveres this man in a high enough standard, she don't feel like it's controlling. Women pick and choose. So if it's controlling, it has to be controlling across the board. It can't be controlling because the $50,000 dude said it or the $50 million dude said it. It wouldn't make a difference because it's not about the money or who he is as a man. It's about what he's saying. So if it's controlling, it got to be controlling across the board. Now, what I was trying to also say to you was control is force. So if I tell you I don't want you to do something and I'm putting like an ultimatum or I'm like standing in front of the door and you want to go out or some shit, that's where it starts to get controlling because I am trying to just hoard you and keep you to, like, you know what I'm saying, in some type of like box or some shit like that. Now, the point that I'm making is what I'm saying is a boundary. So if you agree to my boundary, that's not control. That's two people that agree. So if I tell you, Ani, I don't want you hanging with this person because I don't think that this is a good look for you. I don't think this woman is good for you. I think she's a bad influence, and I don't think that she is a woman that makes you a better woman. Now, if you be like, you know what, and I understand that. I agree. You know, I agree with you. I'm gonna go ahead and listen to you. That's not control because first of all, I didn't tell you. I asked you. But even if I did, it shouldn't.
When a man corrects a woman or holds her to something she has already said, The response too often is to go after his manhood, to call him controlling.
Can I say something real quick? I was watching that, but she was referring to certain parts of like the first clip about the woman kind of like attacking him and like going personally and stuff like that. If I'm remembering what I saw in the first clip, he said some things that would make somebody kind of on edge. Like well, I remember him saying you know, you women like to do this, so I had to mute you because like that's like talking down on somebody. But I don't know if like she attacked him first or you know, but when I was watching that, it's like, oh, I don't think that he's creating an environment for like civility necessarily, if that makes sense.
He was trying to get her to respect the platform, to know when to be able to be quiet when he's speaking and not talk at the same time, and she refused.
Yeah, so you say like listen, I'm going to mute you because you know you're talking when I'm talking and I'm trying to communicate to you that that's not that's not permissible on my platform. So please respect my platform. Versus like I'm gonna have to mute you because you know yo women like to dodge the question like and all that. Like that's like if somebody says something like that to me, that's like hostile to me. You know,
I mean,
it's kind of ad hominem.
I would support it if it wasn't a consistent on his platform. Like he will have to deal with that consistently on his platform, and she was also doing it consistently. So at some point, you recognize that laying it on softly is not effective. And
That's
so
fair.
you take a different approach in order to get the outcome abruptly. Because
That's
you know it can go left.
yeah, that's fair, right? Being more direct or more stern, right? But I think that that still doesn't call for ad hominem. That makes sense. Like, I had to mute you because y'all women don't like to do this. Like now you're telling me that like you talking about my gender and saying like you're not like talk about me as an individual, right? Talk about what I'm doing. When you say like that's like saying like y'all black people like the what? It is, bro. It's a generalization based on
again, after watching so put it like this: when you are in certain environments, there's certain cadences that are acceptable and that people understand and follow. If I go to a certain neighborhood and speak like this, maybe I'm listening to less, but I can change my cadence and speak with my bros in a different way, and it is maybe more easily accepted. I think that's just what it is.
I guess what I'm trying to convey to you is like when when I'm going at it with Angry Man or any of the old heads, right? When I say y'all old niggas, that turn them the fuck up, and I know that shit turn them the fuck up, right? When I say that shit, I know it turn all of them the fuck up. So what I'm saying is when this nigga say like y'all women, that shit gonna turn her the fuck up. So that's like
y'all women and y'all old niggas ain't exactly the same thing. But I mean I get where you coming from, but
So I have a question. So when the woman kept saying, like, he would make a point and she would say, okay, and he would make another point, she would say, okay, do y'all feel like that's could be deemed disrespectful?
No, that was her submitting at that point because before she was getting a little loud and just like aggressive tone. And so when he asked her to calm down, and that's when that was her yielding by saying, okay.
Do you men think that disrespectful? Like if you're in the middle of a sentence and the woman's like, okay, or they, got it. Do y'all think?
I think naturally, well, I shouldn't say naturally, but I think many women, they want to communicate and are going to have less impulse control. I think if you communicate that it's an issue and they override that, absolutely disrespect.
Are you talking about when you talking and they just keep saying stuff?
Yeah, like if you're talking, and so for me, I can only use myself. Sometimes if I want to converse with a man, right, and he may be bringing a point home, I'll lose my train of thought if I don't get a chance to respond to that particular other thought prior to. Because if I hold my thought for the 4 minutes that you speak, now I have lost what it was I was going to
Yeah.
say. So I was just wondering.
Yes, it is. For me, it is very disrespectful, and I would appreciate if you just write it down, or you open up the notepad in your phone and do it. And because now it's all about you. It's all about making sure you don't lose your thought, and now you interrupt me, and now I lost my thought. So it's a form of disrespect. Just write it down. I can't stand when people are saying, okay, 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 okay. Because to me, it's seeming as though you're just trying to enter the conversation and speak your piece. You're not even listening. You know, sometimes I may say something that's like profound, because I am a prophetic type of motherfucker, and I might say some shit, and you got to sit on that shit for a little
But
bit.
you
Pause.
never said to a woman, JR, are you listening to me? Because the whole time she's quiet. Let's say she's quiet now, like you asked the whole time. But then at the end, you like, you listening to me?
I wouldn't say that. I may ask, like, how do you feel about what I said? And then that's how I know if she was listening or not. And then after she says that, well, I may say, well, she might say something like I like what you said. And then I'll follow up and say, well, what in particular did you like? Because I want to know that, or if I'm trying to get you to understand me, I may ask you, like, what is it that you understood? That's how I can kind of gauge without being combative, is if you actually understood what I was saying. Because if you didn't do it, then maybe I have to articulate it a different way. Because my goal is to make sure that I drive the point home, and maybe I didn't explain it clearly, maybe I didn't articulate myself well. And so the goal for me is for us to seek understanding. But that whole listening piece is real key to me, because I don't think a lot of folks listen. I don't think some men listen. I don't think some women listen. I just think across the board, we have a listening problem. And you have to be able to actively engage into what that person said, instead of telling us something that you want to say. Just, if I speak on something, speak about what it is that I said. Another thing that's disrespectful too is when I bring something up about you, and then you want to bring something up about me at that time. I always tell you, if this was an issue for you, you should have brought this up whenever you wanted to. But this is my turn, right? This is my time, my turn. This is my conversation right now. I'm bringing this up to you because this is the issue. So let's keep it here. We could talk about me later, or call me within the next couple of days, and then we'll talk about it. So,
But is the definition of effective communication one-sided, or is it like when two people are communicating together?
the goal, and I had to learn this, and it makes a lot of sense, but it may not make sense. Make the conversation about the other person. Make the conversation about the other person. Like, you'll get your turn when it come to you, because if I can't enjoy talking to you, I'm not gonna never come back to you. I had a terrible experience having this conversation with you. You kept interrupting me. You kept doing ad-libs, and you didn't address or respond to anything I said. I don't even know if you was even listening. So I'm not gonna come back and talk to you, but make the conversation about the other person. And that person will naturally want to come back and, oh, I enjoy talking to you. Hey, I'm gonna ask your opinion about this. It may seem unfair, but if you make the conversation about that person, you'll be surprised how far you'll be able to network with them.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
I was going to tell you.
Go ahead, Paris.
Oh, I was gonna tell you, Keish. I do that on platforms, and I think it's the attention, because when I do it, it's a passive aggressive. So what I'm like, okay, you right. Okay, got it. Like, it's kind of a passive aggressive, and a lot of times I do it to kind of, feed you up so I can get out what I need to get out. So it'd be like, okay, yep, got you. So, it depends on, the motive behind that person that keep interrupting as well.
So you were asking what's effective communication, right?
Yes.
I think effective communication is me communicating something from me, and you hearing it and listening to it, and being able to take that and use it, right? Understanding what I said. Because I can tell you something, I can communicate it, and you don't know what I said, right? Or maybe you're in a position where you're not hearing me. You're in a state of mind where you're not hearing me. You have an anxiety, whatever, right? So it being effective mean that you got it. If you didn't get it, it's not effective. It didn't work, right? I wasted my time. So I gotta get back to the drawing board and figure out, all right, how can I communicate this to some? You know, when you're trying to give an analogy and you're like, that's not a good analogy. Let me go back because this person didn't understand it. Let me give another analogy. You know, so
That one's a little hard for me. I'm not gonna lie, Lapeef. And that was a recent conversation I had. And my issue is when the person's perspective is not what reality was. And then kind of having that moment of like, well, that's not like that's your feelings about what happened, but that's not what actually happened. So it's like sometimes it's like I get the whole thing of like someone wanting to get their whole thought off, but then like, what do we do when the thought is like way off? Then it's like, do I just acknowledge what you said, even though it's not the reality? Like that's where I think I had my fault at personally, where I'm like, okay, well, where do I now have to just accept this, even though this is not reality?
Well, I don't know who it is that you're speaking to, but as a speaker, you have some obligations, some duties as well to pay attention to. And so what's going to wind up happening is that person may not want to talk back to you. And so let's say you're talking to somebody and they just long-winded and you never get it, and they're not mindful that you may have a short attention span. You're probably not going to talk back to that person. So if you want to make sure that you are retaining your audience or retaining your conversations, or you want to go farther with networking with this person, then you have to be able to look at body language, understand that you may have been talking too long, or maybe you just rambling and saying the same thing over and over again, or you double talking. So you have to be looking to improve as a speaker and a person that talks. You know, some people that get straight to the point and every point that they make is just solid. Sometimes a lot of people listen to them and they'll just keep listening because they articulate so well. They drive things home and make so much sense. They're introducing new ideas. Like, this is a person that I want to listen to. I can listen to all night. But you may not be that person. You may just be a person just be talking and you ain't saying shit. So
You made me realize something, that I need to learn how to communicate to people that if they're not communicating effectively to me as well.
I'm not sure how that'll go.
You said that because that made me
that's sometimes you got to just move and not go based off how it's gonna go on the other person. You just have to set your own tone of life. So
I mean, because some people don't like the truth, but you know, the truth hurts. So
hey, I've lost plenty of friendships over saying what I need to say. That's okay too.
But I like that you said that, because that made me think, because, you know, me too, because it's been people that I've talked to before and never talked to again. And we probably, you know, had long conversations, but I ain't hear from them again. So that had me think like, was I doing that? So you be mindful the next
hell was
time
that?
you engage in conversation. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good point.
You saw that? Miss Matt got some flashing going on over there. So what was that?
The storm is really bad over here. So
No, that sounded like it was in your crib.
Listen, that's why I said, oh hell, I had to go, you know, make sure my life was okay over here. That shook me a little bit personally.
So you might gotta go get that potion.
You okay over there?
Oh yeah, I'm inside the house. I'm home, so I'm real safe and comfortable. But that was a little loud and close. So I'm okay though.
All right, man. I think we kind of neared it down. You know, like y'all sound dry as hell right now. So
Just taking it all in, learning something. Yeah. When you learn something, we gotta be quiet, right?
Okay.
You learn
What?
You gave us a reality
can't
check. Now we
digest.
thinking.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes you gotta digest and be like, oh, okay.
I think
Okay,
we made
right,
it.
right, right.
So y'all saying we
For
made a
sure.
breakthrough tonight?
Listen, we
But
listening. This is what listening
yeah.
looks like. You gotta close your mouth to
Mhm.
listen,
Hey,
right?
Give us some credit.
this
You
is
see
why the
what I
Lapeef
mean?
Network exists, baby. There we go.
Yeah, can't
So
even get
won't
the
he do
credit
it?
for listening.
Won't he
There we
do it?
go.
But I did want to add just one point from the clip where when things got a little bit heated, I really did appreciate the way he de-escalated that. To me, that translates to good leadership. I feel like in that moment, he did take charge of the situation. He saw that things were getting a bit too heated. And even though she continued to react, he, de-escalated. Like he stood his ground and he kept saying, I don't need you to apologize to me. I just want you to, just relax a little bit. And, he just maintained that tone. He maintained what his initiative was. And to me, that's a really good example of what good leadership looks like in a man.
I gotta watch that shit again. It was yeah, I gotta watch that shit again. It seemed like it's a self-induced problem.
Mon, you familiar with bro or no?
But I was gonna tell you, Mon.
I never watch his videos, but I see him come across my YouTube sometimes. I never watched him yet though, but he seems intelligent.
Well, that
All right,
doesn't
But I was
matter.
gonna tell you,
So are you
Mon.
talking about the first video or the second video, man?
I'm
The
talking
first
about the
video?
second one.
I think
I was talking about the second one.
Second one is attached to the first one, right? It's just the second part.
Yeah, but which one were you talking about? You need to review the first one, the second one.
Well, I think it's all in sequence. I think I think it was self-induced from like the interaction, and I think it got to that point, where it's like, all right, well now I got to de-escalate. But like I saw where it should have never even got to.
Here to tell you.
Hold on, I'm just trying to find his part.
And who is that again?
That's Ant.
Oh, I think I
Starts defending.
But let me ask you this question, because this basically gonna tell me everything I need to know. What do you think a man does to show that he's serious about you and wants to for you to be his woman? What do you think that looks like? And it's gonna tell me everything I need to know about your mentality.
Okay, I would start off by saying, like, they asked me about my goals, basically like what he believes in. They're pretty open about what they do and themselves. And like I said, I've been single for 5 to 6 years by choice.
No, you're not single.
So like now that I'm back, actually dating, I only
Can you pause it for me real quick,
there.
So I'm not perfect, right? I don't know nothing, but I think the way that was going, as the leader of the conversation, I don't think that he should have been interjecting, right? Like when he asked her a question, she started to answer it. The second that she said something was going in the wrong direction, he's like, nope. I think like I don't like that person.
I think I heard the
Well,
tone.
bro,
that you
look,
heard.
I'll say this.
Sorry.
Homeboy, like you said, he is intelligent. The conversation is going exactly the way he wanted to go. Whether he wants it to be productive or whatever the tone he wants, he realized people watching him. Do I think he would have a conversation like that one-on-one with a person that's not being recorded? Probably not, right? Because people typically they're not at liberty to talk like that to people without there being severe consequences, right? Particularly if that's your style with men. He'd be beat the fuck up or have to hurt somebody. It's just not an effective way of communicating in real life. But over the internet, while people are filming with cameras, that's just what you go get, man. You can't. It is what it is. So I understand where he was doing it. That all of those are like those interjections were absolutely rude and not how you should lead a conversation if you're conducting what appeared to be an interview, right? That's bad. And I thought that her answers were valid. They weren't the illest answers, but if I'm trying to be with somebody, why wouldn't I ask her about what her goals are? Like, that's a collaborative effort. Like, so I don't think her answers were bad. They weren't stupid. They were just like, okay, maybe that's not what you would say, but if somebody would have said that to me, I'd be like, okay, yeah. I don't think they were bad answers. So did he antagonize her? I would say hell yeah.
And also, when you having a conversation, the end, like you can pretty much see it on his face, like he's not very patient, and like he, like while he's listening to her, he's kind of like, yeah, like hurry up, bitch. Like, you know, get these answers
I'm
out,
trying
bitch.
to get my
Like,
I'm trying to get my clip on. Yeah.
But I
yeah,
was gonna,
like,
I was gonna tell you, Mont, that being on certain platforms that I've been on, and I see men do this all the time. I can understand a lot of reasoning when they have a lot of these conversations with the same type of women over and over and over and over
He's
again.
talking to a bird.
Yes. So it kind of get a little frustrating where it's like, all right, I already know where this is about to go. Can you hurry up? Like,
Yeah, but you
I've been
can't
on a
do that. That's
platform.
what you're fishing for. That's what you fishing
that's,
for. You
that's
can't be
called,
mad at
yeah.
because you set a scenario where the same type of woman gonna call you up and you say the same scripted rhetoric. Like you can't get
That's the
mad at
language
that.
in which they understand. That's
Right. No, I'm saying I can understand where these men come from, because now that I've been on the platform with these type of men and here, like a lot of times they'll ask a question, then a woman don't answer the question directly. They go on a different tangent or want to tell another story or something else, to be like, okay, that's not what I asked you. Can you just answer the question? Well, you don't like how I answered the question because you're not answering the
Paris,
question.
that ain't just women. That's these niggas too. When anybody who
Right.
feel like they about to lose, they not going to answer your question right.
But I
They're
see
not.
it more often with women because it just seems like they attention span, like they don't. We run with emotions, so you hear men do the same thing, but not as much as women. It's
Yeah.
like 8 out of 10 of the women that come on these platforms and do the same thing,
well,
and now it's got to the point where I'm even like, oh, girl, can you just answer the question? Because then they go,
Yeah.
well, when I was dating such and such, and I
Yeah.
did this and that, they're like, that wasn't the
Because
question.
look, Paris, these niggas want to major in the first grader, right? If you want to be a first grade teacher, you need to have the patience for like these guys who call all these OnlyFans, like all the girls on their panels is OnlyFans models, right? Nigga, if you gonna have a fucking, you always gonna call these bird type of bitches to your panel. You need to be able to teach the fucking kindergartners, right?
I think that's the point of the whole thing.
That
It's
is
not
true.
to teach, it's not to help, it's not to heal, it's to incite, it's to get the viewership, it's to get the, the razzle dazzle,
Yeah.
get the clip. So a lot of these times, again, like Trav said, that it's like, this is not a real conversation a lot of times. This is
Right.
intentionally made to get this kind of reaction or flow of conversation. And also certain topics are talked about to get the certain kind of like, and then also there's men like that will ask certain questions in order to build this case against you, we have an aha moment and not a real conversation. So it's this is what's gonna happen on these spaces. So even if you try your best to say yes and no on these things, you still gonna be somewhere off, and it's gonna be like, I see aha, and it's like that is not what I just said.
I'll say one thing about the OnlyFans thing. Like, never in like coming up in high school, junior high, you may have heard rumors about this girl or that girl doing this and that with such and such, but never have you seen like a public platform where a 17 or 18-year-old can have the option of like selling her body to strangers across the planet and collecting a check for it, and not only making a check but making a living off of it. So I mean, like think about like like where we were, where you heard barely rumors that were unconfirmed about some woman doing something, somewhere, versus seeing it and having links shared like all over your phone, talking about painting. So we're now in an era where like men are literally seen as ATMs and wallets, and a cash app. And so, consider that. I mean, that's your. I mean, think about it. You're a young man. This is your dating market. This is your dating pool. This is who you're supposed to like try and find somebody to what exactly pay.
I mean, who created that market though?
What do you mean? I don't remember. I don't remember a generation of young men saying we want our women to do OnlyFans.
I
I
mean, but
think
who's
you're saying like
paying?
who's the pussy buyer?
Yeah, it'll be like consumers, right? Only men, but it don't have to be men from here, the United States either. It can be all over the world with the internet.
EBD, they're buying pussy here too.
No, I didn't say they weren't. I'm just saying not only here. That's what I said.
Okay.
I understand that, but I think there's very few scenarios where you actually punish the end user, right? Like if we are here putting poison in the street, they're pretty much going after the pusher. Like the dudes who are just copping and the zombies, they don't really care about that. They don't care about nobody on K&A. They're not going to be over there rounding them up all crazy. But they want the pushers. Like, and you have to understand who's the pushers in the situation, who's soliciting. I mean, I've only seen one weird state in the United States actually try to punish the patron, where it's a felony, but it is what it is. The people who are soliciting are absolutely more at fault. If they don't supply it, then there's no such thing. Sure, you can say without the customers too.
I don't know about that one. If they don't supply it, they're gonna go buy some a can of spray paint and try. They're gonna use something improperly to get their high. I think like when we look at our justice system, it's not the most effective at all. Right? Let's go somewhere like Dubai and see if they punish drug users. Right? They probably do. So I think the drug user should get punished and the drug dealer, both of y'all.
No, I get that, but some of the laws on that side of the earth are a bit extreme, and there's plenty of them that I wouldn't survive there very long as it stands.
Well, most people in power are hypocrites. They only enforce laws on people who they want to check their behavior, but people in power do not practice the law. They don't practice what they preach.
We know that because we know what else happens in Dubai. I know a couple homegirls who took some trip out there too. So yeah,
but what do we?
I get your point.
But what do we like? I guess the question I have is like I don't know. What do you do about it? I mean, there are men who are trying to screen who they're trying to date by saying, "Hey, do you have an OnlyFans?" I mean, because if you do, then it's like, well, I can't really take you seriously because you'll always value the money and other men's attention other than any relationship that you can possibly try and entertain.
Well,
I think
I feel like
if you gotta ask girls got OnlyFans, that's like you probably not a good judge of character. If you gotta ask, I know
there's a lot of women who practice law. Not a lot, but some women practice law or they're in the professional world. They know they've been through masters, some doctrines, all of that, but they found it easier and less stressful to transition over it into the underworld and go to the OF. And they've done.
Well, they may not be doing
OF,
but they may not be doing OF, but they are showing their feet too. A lot of people will.
I would.
Yeah.
Without even going to the extreme of OF, the idea
they're making money. They're making $15,000 a month.
Hey, listen, feet finder.
Your volume's low.
Yeah, I've been seeing this commercial on TikTok advertising. It's some reality show that's coming out. I forgot because I don't care. But it's a lot of women that is saying like they're a part of that entertainment industry, but they're professionals in real life. And they didn't know that their life would get caught up, like they were intertwined with each other. And they'll say things like, I even covered up my face, or I tried to hide certain things so my identity wouldn't get revealed, and it still end up getting leaked or revealed. So yeah, a lot of these women aren't just regular, I'm just out here Tatiana. Some of these women are really, career women that's just doing something else for attention or whatever.
Doing something strange for a little change.
Yeah.
They still look like it.
A little change.
They said it's hard out here. It's hard.
I mean, I think like again, it's I don't think it's just I don't think all the blame should be put on people who capitalized, on an opportunity that was created for them. It is sad to say that, as a society, our morals have, kind of depleted to that level. But at the end of the day, I can't really, blame women who are engaging in these types of activities because there are buyers willing to buy. I mean, if you have professionals that are lawyers and doctors making more money selling feet pics, I mean, that kind of tells you where we're at as a society, right? It's like, I mean, you have a very high paying position, but you're making more money kind of exploiting yourself in that way, then
but
it's sad to say, but like
on the same token, you would have to say then I can't blame the drug dealer for dealing drugs.
Not as much. You can blame them, but I think they're
That's a little different.
I wouldn't say, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say that because I mean, for drug addicts, right? Like they specifically, there's a supply and demand for one specific thing, versus if you have an addiction to that type of content, there are other, I guess, ways to get that, unfortunately, for free than there is for you to want to personalize it the way that they do on only. I mean, I don't condone any of it, but what I'm saying is to create a market to where women can now monopolize and anybody can get into that industry. That's like saying because there are so many, drug addicts, everybody should start making and cooking crystal meth in their kitchen. There's a huge difference.
So it's an issue that they could get it for free before OnlyFans?
No, I don't think it was an issue. It's just, I mean, the market was created for anybody to kind of jump in on that. And that's where now we're starting to see a lot of, because nobody had a problem with, adult film, creators and adult film actors, and nobody had an issue to that extent. But now that the average.
I would say that they did have a problem with that. The issue that it comes to with OnlyFans is the ease of accessibility and the normalization. So a lot of times that's where you begin to see pushback on something when there gets to a point of normalization. Once you get to a point of normalization, now you're getting to a point of societal decline. When I can normalize digital prostitution as if it's something that I do on my 18th birthday, then I can give a countdown on my 17th birthday. It just becomes a societal decline. So that is your serious issue, because it starts to basically impact children. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And
Crush, who's more at fault? The simp or the woman?
Well,
the pimp, the simp, or the woman?
No, the simp. The simp or the woman? Like who's more, like who do you blame more?
The simp.
You blame the simp, right?
The simp.
And he's the drug user, right?
I wouldn't put simp and drug user in the same.
I'm just saying, like in this situation, right? He's the person who's because like, I'm going to give my money to this woman because I have a problem and I want access to her. So I'm going to give her money and I'm going to do things and I'm going to fuck the game up, right? By giving these women shit for free and all, letting them think these expectations, right? In this scenario, I think he's the user and the woman is, she the dealer.
The simp is pretty much in a relationship.
Would that be a simp or a trick?
Both simps, tricks, they all, they two different.
That's what I said. Was it the simp or a trick?
A trick is different. The trick understands
they both at fault.
But the trick understands he tricking. It's a line there. The simp is fucking up the game because at the cost of his own respect, right? So now there's societal decline as far as the expectation of a man's respect based on his actions. So he's tanking the market on men's self-respect by not expecting respect in return of doing everything. So a simp is diabolical. That's different. Somebody that wants
to sum it up succinctly, for what a simp is exactly, is someone who does the most and gets the least.
Like an OnlyFans subscriber.
An OnlyFans subscriber is somebody that's paying.
Paying money. Like outside of OnlyFans, isn't a man paying a woman to go on a date? Isn't he paying the expenses?
An OnlyFans subscriber is a man, right? Because you can watch all of this stuff for free, right?
They're just paying for a subscribe.
You don't want that. He wants to be close to this woman as much as possible.
He wants it personalized.
He wants a personal, individualized relationship and a dream of it. Because they probably going to message each other, whatever.
That's what's going on OnlyFans?
Yeah. They pay for OnlyFans, it's a personal live interaction with the actual content creator versus the consumers. That's the only difference between adult content and OnlyFans, the interaction.
And what did these people do before OnlyFans?
These are regular people. These are average people. These were students that graduated from high school to all the way from doctors and lawyers, like she was saying, restoring the
But
village.
I mean,
I think he's saying the subscriber.
The subscriber. What
The subscriber is an average. Well, a subscriber is an average consumer of adult content, but probably wants a personal interaction.
So
not even that. A guy who subscribed to OnlyFans, a lot of them probably wasn't consumers of necessarily. They probably not like those really porn addicted guys. It's probably a guy who like, yo, shorty bad. You know, maybe she might. You know, I can subscribe. You know how like girls be like, yo, what? You gotta like, don't come in my business and try to like get my number unless you're gonna pay and not pay for something first, right?
So they were normal dudes that didn't get any play, but without the platform of OnlyFans, they wouldn't be able to be doing this. So in actuality, it's the ability to be able to access it on OnlyFans. If OnlyFans didn't exist, they'd just be losers.
Yeah.
If OnlyFans didn't exist, they'd just be losers walking around that either decided to stay losers or decided to become winners.
Can I say something?
Yeah, what's up? Go ahead, Paris.
Because I've never been on OnlyFans, so I'll never know how to work. But I was told the only part I do know how it works isn't it linked to like the Twitch or something like that? I don't know. From my knowledge of how it works is, don't people build relations, like say they follow a certain person's social media or Twitch account and they liking this person, now they want to see their content. Is that how it works?
For the most
No,
part,
well, here's what they have. Most of these women, right? What they'll do.
Okay, then let me just shut up because I don't know how it works.
No, I'm gonna tell you. So most of these women, believe it or not, the most notorious offender is Instagram. Most of women's traffic is curated through Instagram, and some of them come in the form of things that like red pill women. They'll say a bunch of things like, "Oh yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that," or "You don't know how to take care of your man," or blah, blah, all this type of stuff that grab the dude's attention, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and then you go to their bio, and then you see the link right there, and the first one is usually an OF, or it'll be whatever. That's just what it is. I could spot it and tell you like,
So
oh,
that was going to be my
when women
point.
start talking a certain way, I can tell you, yeah, this is an OF draw automatically, just because they say stupid ass shit that's not even realistic half the time, or they'll just be scantily clad, and you'll be like, oh, okay, OnlyFans draw. And I'm telling you, IG is the number one offender. Think about it. That's the quickest. Like TikTok don't really play that as much. You'll see a little bit, but not really, and they definitely ain't having you embed their OF links. You'll have to go through a different link and all that stuff. Instagram's the way to go. Twitter is
So
big on that too, because it shows a lot of nonsense too. So that's the biggest way, because you can easily get all the traffic in the world unlimited just by wearing a little bit of clothes, and especially if you say something that I guess corn to a man's ear. Yeah, you already got him.
Yeah. I did want to just.
That was going to be my point. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. There's gonna be your point. What?
Oh, that was my point. So that's the difference from how porn was back in the days, is there was no personal connection behind the scene with the actual content creators on that. But now there is a connection where you can follow this person's social media, you can get to like that person, and then it's like, now I get to see how this person moves and interacts or behind the scene, so it's more intriguing now than just before, when it's like, oh, I just cut on my favorite star is Pink Dot, whatever her name is, so it's, because I like her moves. But now you actually get to build a connection by seeing that person on their Instagrams and Twitch account, to make you even want to, now I want to see how she is in the bedroom or how he is. So I think that's the difference.
Yep.
Caramel Snickers, aka Big Draws.
What is that?
Big Draws. All right, let me. Y'all wild as hell, man. Man, I did want to get your thoughts about this real quick, man. We get up out of here.
Niggas wanna fuck me, kids wanna fuck me, aunties.
Hold on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Niggas wanna fuck me, kids wanna fuck me, aunties, everybody.
So this is what you really meant when you said quiet on the creek. Y'all heard that right. He said kids. I like when y'all tell on yourselves because this allows people to see who y'all really are. And also, to no surprise, you have people defending this. You have people saying that he was drunk and that's why he said that. We've all been drunk before. We never thought about saying no wild ass shit like that. It never even came to our minds to begin with. Only a weirdo would even think about saying something like that in the first place. Now, I will say this, even though you have some people still defending him, you have people in his comment section saying loud on the creek. So I guess that's the new thing that they're running with. So shout out to y'all for calling him out. You can't excuse that behavior. Don't use alcohol as a reason to why somebody's being a weirdo on the internet. Drinking alcohol is a choice. Whatever you end up doing while you're drunk, you're still responsible for it.
So I want to start with when I first heard the clip, I also was like, okay, is that what I heard too? Some people were saying he did not say kids, he said Kens, like Ken doll, and that's a specific slang for the LGBT community. I'd never heard this slang before. I'm not really a big follower of Saucy Santana, so I really didn't get too far deep into it, but they were saying that he didn't say kids, he was using a slang in there.
I don't
What
know.
did he
It's
say?
Lapeef doing
He
the
came out
most.
later and said, yeah, he said kids.
Okay.
Oh, he did say that?
He came out later and
But
said, yeah, he said kids.
what I was always told is that a
That's
drunk
wild.
never tells a lie. So you just said what you already was thinking or doing. It just amplifies your real self. That's all.
Yeah, he tried
Yeah.
to substantiate him saying kids by on the Angela Yee show showing videos of boys that were maybe about 15, 16 saying that he had a fat ass.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know who
this is a sickness.
That's not even
absolutely, but I don't know who that person personally, like specifically is, but I mean, we do know that unfortunately, I don't know if we could say the word here on YouTube, but like PDF and pedophilia is on the high rise, and a lot of people are saying, a lot of studies are saying it is because we have become desensitized from a lot of the inappropriate, content that's being consumed at such high numbers. So you become immune to what technically is normal, and you start to dip into a lot of taboo and things that are, extremely inappropriate and wrong and illegal and just demoralizing, because you need to get that, that fix again. You need to kind of pique that interest again. So it it just says where we are, unfortunately, as a society, where our morals are. It's really sad and sickening to hear and watch.
This just goes back to the statement of normalization leads to societal decline and ultimately will begin to affect your children, which is why you must nip things in the bud and not be embarrassed or worried about a backlash from folks that are just basically emotional as opposed to being logical. I'm sorry, EBD, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I just don't think, to speaking to your point, I just don't think that no matter how much degeneracy we witness because we all have phones on our we all have cameras on our phones, there's going to be some things that are out of bounds and over the line, and some things that are never going to be accepted by society. Like, and one of those things is going to be messing with minors, because I think for the most part, you don't see a group of people who are always ready to defend it, quote unquote. You always see people who are ready to shame it, because I think children are out of bounds. They're supposed to be the protected class. They're not supposed to even learn about any kind of adult behavior until they're adults themselves. But I mean, this is why we send our kids to school, so they can get properly educated on shit. But so with social media, the things that kids are able to access, such as adult conversations, who knows what they're talking about in junior high now? I mean, who knows what they're talking about in high school now? I mean, they have access to these real conversations that we never had. So they're growing up like a little bit too informed. So I mean that plays a role too, but I would still say that for the most part in society amongst men, I think most of us do agree that kids are out of bounds and need to be protected
Absolutely.
by a majority of us.
But I think though, like, because oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, I think we taking some shit and running with it. Like when I listen to what he said, I first heard, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's not a bar. Like, what are you doing, right? But I just think he said some dumb shit, right? Like just kind of like trying to like, reach, and he said some dumb shit. Like, if he really be dealing with little boys, that's crazy, right? That's go to jail, right? But I just think he said some dumb shit trying to have a fly ass bar, and it's like, no, that didn't land, bro. Like, but I think people taking the opportunity to run with it.
But is that a flex to say kids want me because some 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds comment on your butt? Like, so would that even be a thing that a grown man or rainbow man would want to say as a bar, as a flex?
No, I said it's stupid. Like it wasn't a bar. So, I think he thought it was a bar, and
I think it's the context of homosexuality. I don't think any of us are going to get it.
Even then, though, to be fair, I think what ends up happening is like at some point we have to realize that sometimes these things are very subtle until they're not, because it doesn't become normalized in the masses until it's too late. So things like that, to us, it's easy to say, oh, okay, maybe he didn't mean it like that. But that's how you become desensitized to that type of language, is like slowly but surely you start to hear these things. And it's like, well, the first time, something like that said, you don't really get the outburst that would be expected if you said it in the definite and the absolute, in absolute cases. And then to go back to what you were saying, EDP, earlier, where you said you don't think that this is something that, it's more of children getting access to these things that's causing a lot of this normalcy. I would have to argue that, because I mean, we've seen so many parents, react in such an outrage to, mature content being exposed to their children in TV shows, in cartoons, in Disney movies, things that are very inappropriate and have absolutely no place for a child to see. We are seeing it in the schools as well. And these are part of the subtle signs that we don't notice as a society until it gets to a point where it's really out of hand. So, I mean, I definitely do think that as a society, I mean, we know what, the files, I don't want to go into detail because I know we're on a platform, but like, the files, all these things do happen because there is an agenda. There is a group of people that have normalized this and do think that this is okay.
Right.
And so they do, and they are people of power, and they desensitize us as a society by doing these, small things here and there that we don't notice.
I take that.
Now, mind you, okay, pull it out.
Get the receipts.
Because that's why I said people like to clip.
What kids thing?
It's a clip where I say niggas want to fuck me, kids want to fuck me, aunties want to fuck me, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so they clipped it, and I think right now too, I don't want to throw shade on nobody else's situation, but somebody else is in the headline for that little me gauge, and I'm like, that just has never been my character. But at the same time, you can't. I ain't finna beat y'all hoes in the head about something that y'all want to make y'all mind up to believe. And also, I think people forget that even though I live stream, I'm a celebrity, so I answer these questions on lip service.
Okay.
Yes. I don't gotta prop up my phone and answer no shit for y'all because y'all feel like you ain't gonna address it. Yeah, when it's time. I'm on a press run right now, babe.
Okay, period.
This is a video in real time. What you say?
Yeah.
First of all, watch your mouth, for you too motherfucking young for that. When have I ever gave kids teeth any type of thing. That's action. That ain't no clip. That's in real time. A kid to me, 14, 15, 16, whatever the fuck, see me walking outside of public in a dress and you like, oh, that shit fat. That's not cool. That's not okay. Listen, you way out of your league, son. Don't play with me. Don't even disrespect me like that.
Yes.
That's how I'm coming. I got goddaughters. I got nieces and nephews and that I'm helping raise. That's watching me. I got nephews that I'm teaching. Hey, me and your daddy, both men, we might be two different men. Your daddy might be one way, I might be this way, but you still gonna have respect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like when it comes to that, it's kind of actually fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I know how the internet is, and it's like
it's an agenda.
Yeah.
Because I knew that would have upset you at that time when that was going viral, and you haven't spoken on it yet. So I appreciate you for clearing it up here, and we wanted to give you the space to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because we've never heard nothing about Saucy.
Now, in that same wig, there's going to be a clip of him suggestively dancing with girls younger than the boys that are in that video, bouncing their chests. Okay.
In the same wig.
Yeah. So all that to me is cap.
No, nah.
I mean, because that didn't come off as y'all disrespecting me. It came off a little bit different the way she said it, but
It came off exactly how he said. He said y'all too young for that shit. Don't be like, stop playing with me.
No, I'm saying when he said it, like kids want to.
Oh, when he was in the pool.
Yeah, like
Oh
that
no,
didn't
when he
come
was in the
off
pool,
as
he was
in,
trying to
like,
pop. He was trying to pop his shit, and he said some dumb shit.
Right,
How-
but now
but
you
that-
double
that's the
back and be
thing.
like, no, that was disrespectful when they
Let,
did
let,
that.
let's look at that. Popping your shit is a form of bragging.
Yeah.
Right.
Being braggadocious about minors wanting to be with you is mental.
Right.
That's a problem. Nobody on here would ever think to themselves to say, so and so, y'all can insert it and understand what I'm saying, wants to lay down with me. It's nothing that would enter our mind to say or to be braggadocious about or to do it in public.
I've been both
Right.
high. I've been both high and drunk plenty of time in my life, my 44 years on this planet, and no, you'll never catch me saying no shit like that.
Right. Right.
Right. I think that the
And as
timing
a
of this.
mother that, have boys, you hear the boys, say little stuff or smirk or, whatever, like your mom fine, stuff like that. But I would never be like, yeah, kids want to like,
Yeah.
come on. Then it's just like
Yeah.
the mindset, the
retarded bitch
mentality
would.
that even flex like
That's
that
not
was
a
He-
flex.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be cooked. I'm going to tell you why. He made a reference to it in the video. This came on the heels of that whole Sydney Star incident, right? And there's a lot of people who want to make the direct correlation between, their orientation and just kind of, I guess, conflate it to, children or just deviance altogether. I'm not here to make that claim. I don't really want to know nothing about that business. But what I'm saying is that there's going to be an attack on bro. I think Fresh is absolutely right. Somebody's going to find a clip on bro and pull up whatever they can find to seize him. He's probably cooked, to be honest with you. And he should have never did that. I don't understand the thought process of that. It just doesn't make any sense. There's no scenario where you would think that is cool. And if you're drunk, just think about it. If I violate somebody while I'm drunk, I'm responsible for it. If I run somebody over and I'm drunk, I'm responsible for it. Drunk, if you can't be responsible, then you should never drink. It's as simple as that. You of age where this is not the first time you ever drank before, you drink. So whatever you do when you drink, I'm going to think that's how you really are. Because to me, the only thing that I've realized that drinking does is kill your inhibitions. Then you can be your true self. So when statements come out like that, I don't want to put him in a bucket, but him as an individual, I would say that, yeah, he probably on bullshit.
And to your cover up for it did not go with the flex that you did it in, the content you did it in. Like that was a flex the way you said it, but then now you're trying to contradict and say, oh, I think that's disgusting and that kids is just out of line type of, explanation, but that's not how you said it. So how are you gonna bring two different things? Like that doesn't make sense.
I'll tell you how it makes sense to me, right? He said some dumb shit like with the kids want to fuck me thing, right? Dumb, like his shit was not a bar, shit was whack, right? And then he went to show a video of like, listen, little young boys have tried to say things to me, and I've checked them for trying to say things to me. What does that tell us? What might it tell us? It tells us that even though we're trying to say, oh, he might be a PDF, he's showing us something that's like, nah, like I've checked young boys for saying comments to me before, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's why it doesn't go together. Because if this is your character and you check kids for saying that and you think that they're out of line, then why would you say a bar as if it's a flex that they are coming to check for you? If you don't agree with it and you put them in a place for it, then I'm not going to say it in a bar as if it's a flex.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're trying to make way too much sense of it.
I mean, no, it's just a total contradiction of itself.
So,
like I could say one thing and I could be like, yeah, I feed the homeless all the time. You know what I mean? But then I'm out here rapping about niggas can't feed themselves. Like, I'm just saying it's just like it don't go together.
Let's put you in that position, right? Real quick, right? Let's say that you was a dumb hood rat, right? Let's say you like Young Miami, like Young Miami or one of these, or Sexy Red or something, right? Let's say like you retarded and you don't agree with PDF activities, right? So whenever young boys around you say, you be like, no, like, boy, you too young, right? However, you said some dumb shit like these young boys want to fuck me, all old heads want to fuck me, everybody want to fuck me, right? I think that's just you saying some dumb ass shit because you thought it was some fly shit to say because you're dumb. But that doesn't mean you're a PDF.
No, I mean,
that
because
doesn't
like
go together.
Yeah, I mean, because
Actually,
a lot of
didn't they
women, for
say that?
example.
Wait, didn't the city girls say that?
I can picture them saying some dumb shit.
City girls did say that.
City girls never say no
There are going to be women who are drunk, who are older, who do talk the way that he talks about, like even younger guys. Maybe not minors, but certainly younger guys. Younger guys want to fuck me. Millionaires want to fuck. You can hear that coming out of a woman's mouth on a Friday night after a couple of shots.
Absolutely, because you're looking at them in that way, though. But you would look at them in that way. You would look at somebody who's young. Those older women are looking at younger men. Maybe even if the situation is not that they're going to have physical intimacy, they would look at them in a way where they might be sexually attracted to them. So that's why they would consider that a flex. But with children, you shouldn't look at them in that way at any capacity. So I wouldn't even use that to be like, oh yeah, well, kids want to. I couldn't even fathom bringing that up in a even if that were to like, if a child made that kind of pass, I wouldn't even be flattered by it because I'm like, that's, you know what I mean? It's inappropriate.
The best thing that he could have done,
that would be a flex to you.
The best thing he could have done, like first of all, is recognize that what he said was crossed the line too far. Apologize. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. That's not really me. This is some stupid shit that I said. But, I just want to, make sure I, get drunk and party and leave that kind of shit out. If that's the first thing out of their mouth, none of that, we're not having this conversation because we're not trying to interpret what he really meant. And this video happened earlier. He's doing too much. An apology will do.
Right.
But in this day and age, though, in this day and age, I think it's not like in this day and age when we see and hear everything that we've seen and heard, with a lot of sick, demented people that think that that's okay. I don't think that a simple apology is enough. I do think that it's better safe than sorry, especially with how normalized it's been especially like in the Hollywood industry, and we see the effects of not standing up and saying something or doing something when the slightest hint of that being, a reality was investigated. I don't think that a simple apology would have sufficed, to be honest with you, in this day and age. Like, I don't think that that's
It would
something
have
you
went a
take
long way.
lightly anymore.
An apology goes further than you think, because you have to acknowledge, what you did and what you said was wrong. Number one, and number two, if there's no prior history of this person physically, or you can an apology wipes that right out. If there was something to dig into to where there was action behind something that he said, cool, then prosecute him and put out all the dirty laundry. But if these were just drunken words that drunk people say, clean it up with an apology and move the hell on. But
Where does the investigation start, though? Where would the investigation start? Wouldn't it be from something like that slipping out? Wouldn't that trigger like a red flag for somebody to want to look into that further or study the behavior?
What he did to try and clean it up with this video makes me ask more questions, rather than just an acknowledgement of what he said was wrong and then just saying and then moving on from there. No one really would look twice, because that's not really who he is. What his mistake was trying to clean it up by saying, this is why I said such things, rather than saying I should have said that shit at all.
I think him being investigated is fair. I'm not opposed to that, right? But if he's never done anything, then he just said some dumb shit.
Right.
But do people
leave it at that? He could have left it at that. I said some dumb shit.
Do people that actually do that look like people who would normally do that?
No,
people who victimize other, like you'll never see I'm sorry, you'll never see a serial killer on TikTok talking crap, okay, or someone who really does harm to children. You don't know those people. You don't see those people. They don't talk a bunch of stuff. They don't go viral because they talk a bunch of crap. Loudmouths who don't do anything talk a bunch of crap on social media. The people who are doing harm are out doing harm. They ain't got shit to do with social media. They stay quiet and they stay to themselves, and they're predatory. And that's how they move through the earth.
Yeah, and you know what that come to mind? I don't know if this, but Lil Wayne the baby. You know how he always calling him daddy and all that, and they justify him kissing him and calling him daddy, and this is just how we move, blah blah blah. And then now we see that Lil Wayne was only 11 years old when he actually went to them, and all the stuff that's behind the scene that actually was happening. So I think like these celebrities.
Wait. What are you saying?
No, don't worry about it. I wouldn't. So this is where I would be with it. I'm not necessarily going to go all the way left about accusatory theories. What I would say is that there needs to be a hard line on certain behaviors. It needs to be checked thoroughly so that nobody else would think to behave in this manner or think that it's acceptable. Basically, we're challenging the normalization so we don't have societal decline, and we actually show a standard of what it is that we are going to deal with and progress from that. I can't say that this person has done this or done that, but I can say that you don't go around bragging about kids wanting to fuck you. Pause. Whatever. I use whatever.
So I wanted to say this though. Some people are very outward with it. I would encourage you to watch the documentary, if you could stomach it, of EDP 445. He is absolutely
That's the fat guy
out there. Yes, he is absolutely out there in the forefront, justifying his behavior.
I don't know if we should
watch it's called what? It's a what?
I don't know if we should watch the fat guy because it's weird because he's funny. So it's like I don't want to laugh at
that
shit. Like this.
I couldn't laugh at nothing he said. That documentary
I seen a clip
not funny at all.
On Instagram.
Where's
this shit kind of funny. I don't want to watch this.
What is it? Documentary on what?
It's almost like a satire, but it's not.
Well,
it's like
it ain't like satire. He went to jail for real. He was a huge YouTuber. I think he had at least 4 million subs and all that. Avid Eagles fan, unfortunately. Shit. But I think he was on Sports Center, all kind of shit, just because he was so popular. Yeah. Then he got caught running after people that were like teens.
There's a lot of that going on.
Low teens.
But I think I think Frank,
and he's unapologetic about it.
Fresh
I
maker.
think what he said is we need to start
Called his ass Frank.
calling
He said
people
Frank
out
Maker.
for their bad behaviors.
Frankie.
Frank Lucas in the building.
No, I definitely think we should like, y'all remember that clip of Jim Jones when they was like, yo, all the girls be in the section with the bottles, and Jim Jones was like, fuck no, bitch, you ain't pay for this bottle, and everybody was like, oh, what you talking about? And then Jim was like, oh, no, never mind, right? I think that's the type of shit we should do. Like when somebody say some dumb shit, right? We should be like, nah, bro, that shit that's not a bar. That shit was crazy.
You got to
like
be
said.
checked in the door.
Well, I even think the interview was kind of like they were just like, oh, well, thank you for correcting everything. It's like it was just like, we just went right past it. There was no moment of like, do you feel like this is like the journalism was lacking, but I'm also not surprised.
No
At the same time.
accountability, no
Yeah.
remorse, no
No follow-up questions.
recognition. Like that's I mean, right in that interview, he could have cleaned it all up and put it to bed. Hey, I fucked it up. I mean, like everyone does. If you're human, you're fallible. I mean, just put it behind you by recognizing what you did and move on.
Yeah, like I ain't like that they didn't really kind of even apply any type of like, at least be like, yo, Saucy, that shit was wild.
No.
They ain't do
That's
none of
what we
that.
got the platform for.
They want. I think people may have expected some accountability, and then when they didn't get it, I think a lot of people were disappointed. Because it's like you over here rationalizing. There's no I'm sorry. There's no that's fucked up. There's no I'll never say that kind of shit again. You're just showing a video saying why you said it. That's it.
Yeah, but that guy's not known for his humility. So, I mean, I expected nothing more from bro, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Man,
but then I can't feel sorry for him if he gets roasted. Then
Oh yeah, let him get roasted.
He shouldn't.
But I just don't personally. I don't like when people take shit and run shit with it, so I don't do it. Mm-hmm. So like, I would never call him a PDF, but I'd be like, yo, that was some wild shit you said. Like, I'm not going.
Would you really?
No type of, what I would
say that because you would just justify.
No, I'm saying I would never. I wouldn't call him a PDF unless he was.
Mm-hmm.
If he
was,
I
think any normal, any
he said something stupid, but he didn't do like. There's no proof that he did something, so it's kind of like this, and so it's like this space of like you don't want to say somebody did something unless you have proof that they did it. Though this moment was something that you really shouldn't have said that. No.
Did you correct the behavior of the things that he said without accusing him of doing anything further than what he said? I don't think we're really trying to say he actually did anything. We're just saying that what he said was not appropriate at all. And where's your mind at to even say something like that?
Well, I would say the narrative is bigger than just what he said because it's coming off the Sydney Starr situation where that person actually was found to have been messing with minors. So that's where it is taking the route of this is what was said, but we're also attaching it to this because it came out on the back of that. So, and we know the public court goes, well, if it quacks like a duck, it got to be a duck. And we kind of, and that's how it runs. That's the truth of the matter.
Let's just flip it real quick. If it was a bunch of homeboys in the pool and one of them said, old ladies want me, middle schoolers want to, they would knock that out. Okay? There's a different standard.
Especially if you had a video of him working at the nursing
and
home.
nobody would allow him to come on a radio show and say, well, what I mean to say is when I pick my daughter up from school, the little girl will be looking at me in my car. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to happen.
There would be no cleanup opportunity.
No, they'd be cleaning him up off the
floor. Hey, what you say? That was like when Kel was on the interview with Gail. Asking about the teenage. We get to these super chats. Star G 5725 with the 100 jewels. High five. Bohem with the 499. Y'all needed me to stir things up tonight. I've been down here with Blue Chew, ED crew tonight. It smells like a disappointment and emotions down here. Bohem with the 499. Logic Man, SYBAU. You're in the comments crying because women treat you like a loser. You are Get your weight up, my ninja. Or even give the 199 the money men pay for OF created the problem. Brother Numzi with the 100 jewels, high five, thank you. And Vince Singleton, 9823, 10 jewels, press F.
Oh, hey. Oh, let me see the baby. I want to show my aunt. It's on FaceTime. Hey. She's talking to you. Yeah, it looks. Auntie Simeon. What? Auntie Simeon, it's on FaceTime. I'm so sorry, but I don't know why my. Auntie Simeon. Please. What? She's no. I'm so sorry. No, I think she saw something funny. Wait, Auntie Simeon. Okay. Here, can I see the? Yeah. I want to show my aunt.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, sweetheart.
You see? It's FaceTime.
How are you? Congratulations.
What? They're on FaceTime. The baby sleep. Is it pretty? Is it? Oh wow! Oh, my friend just had the baby. What? Hey, you just called. Look, Dubbish, it's my friend's baby.
Ooh, Jesus!
What happened?
What?
No, it's FaceTime.
It's FaceTime.
Oh my! It looks like look at the baby. What? They're on FaceTime. Look at the baby. They're on FaceTime. Say hi. Oh, my friend. They just had the baby. Wow, it looks just like the dad. What? It's on FaceTime. Oh God. Oh yeah. Look, my friend just had a baby. Isn't it cute? Mom, they're on FaceTime.
Yeah?
They're on FaceTime.
Oh, sorry. That's very cute.
Say, Mom, they're showing the baby.
Huh?
The baby.
Oh.
All right, man. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Thank you, everybody.
Those sunglasses to see.
That's crazy. I'm so sorry.